first aircraft is an F-18 at the 90. Stand clear to port catwalk and fire line. Stand by to recover aircraft. This is a drill. Through the ages, it really came alive. Will always break its word. The money will still follow this song. For freedom, the battle rages on.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Caesar with the Battle Rhythm Podcast. Welcome back to another great show tonight. Tonight is July the 8th, Tuesday, July the 8th of our Lord 2025. And with that, I want to make sure that you guys are aware that every Tuesday night we come to you live and direct to make sure that we are having everything good to go. So first and foremost, thank you all that are listening through our streams, that are listening through our social media, that are listening through everything that we have. Thank you so much for what you've done. So for listening to my nonsense, I guess you could say, every once in a while. It's cool. Thank you guys for that. So we are here and we are going to go ahead and start our show. So we are waiting on our guests to come in. Like I said, this week is going to be special because I have the daughter of Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez, who is a Medal of Honor recipient. And she was having a couple of issues in regards to some technical issues. So she's looking for some headphones. So it would be good. So once she gets back in, we'll go ahead and start the show with her. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and start with what I always like to start my shows, which would be Day Up. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about what we're going to be, sorry, not what we're going to be, but what day it is today, National Calendar Day. So, all right, today, birthdays and events. Look at that, National Raspberry Day. Oh, wow. National Raspberry Day, July 8th. And then also Cow Appreciation Day. It's second Tuesday in July. And then National Freezer Pop-Up Day or Pop Day. Remember those little things in Mexico, we call them bolis. And they actually use a bunch of, different flavors in here, like kind of like Otter Pops or Freezer Pops or whatever it is, So it was good in the summertime and because they were cheap and the parents would always buy, the pack of 65 or whatever it was, would buy those. So that was pretty cool. National Chocolate with Almonds Day is also today. So there you go. And I'm telling you, it's just awesome. It's awesome. The fact that we are July 8th. God, it's so, I don't want to say frustrating, but the fact that, half of the year is already gone is, yeah, it's just that gone. So it's fine. It's good to go. Not a big deal. But thank goodness that we still have the rest of the year. So a couple more things to go through, and then hopefully it'll the year will just go by, and then another 2026 event will be going through, and it is what it is. So all right. So let's continue on with what we have. Birthdays and events. All right, July 8th. Notable birthdays for July the 8th. John Pemberton was born in 1831 and passed away in 1888. He was a pharmacist of all people, who invented Coca-Cola. Ellie Lilly, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the Lilly coffee or whatnot. 1838 to 1898. He was a founder of Ellie Lilly and Company, also pharmaceuticals. 1839 to 1937, a fella by the name of John D. Rockefeller, who was also the founder of the Standard Oil Company. And oddly enough, one of his sons, Nelson Rockefeller, born in 1908, 1979, shared the same birthday as he is. And as you know, he was the 41st Vice President of the United States. And also Kevin Bacon, 1958. And he obviously still he's still living, so he's a multi-award winning actor, probably best known for Footloose. And then a gentleman that we just lost last year, Toby Keith, born in 1961, In 2024, he was the country music musician. Probably one of my favorite songs. And what is it? I Want to Be a Cowboy, or no, I Want to Be a Cowboy. I wish I was a cowboy. Anyway, it's my favorite song, but I can't even remember the dang name of it. Jeez, I'm not even good at this anymore. I swear, I'm gonna retire from doing podcasts. All right. Also, Sophia Bush, 1982, and she's still living. Actress recognized for her roles in One Tree Hill and Chicago PD. Some of the memorable events for July 8th would be in 1796, the State Department issued its first U.S. passport. In 1800, Dr. Benjamin Waterhouse gave the first cowpox vaccination to his son to prevent the smallpox. In 1800, like literally 1800, that's crazy. 1870, Congress authorizes the registration of trademarks. In 1913, Alfred Gilbert received a patent for the toy erector set. In 1947, there were reports of a broadcast that a UFO crash landed in New Mexico. And we all know what happens in New Mexico. It stays in New Mexico, but it was in Roswell, New Mexico. So I am just as excited as you guys are because you guys know a couple weeks ago, or about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I had a guest by the name of Doc Ballard. Doc Ballard is a Navy corpsman in the Vietnam War, and he was a recipient of a Medal of Honor. Well, today we have another recipient, the daughter of Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez. And before I bring her on, I want to read you guys the citation that the Army presented to him while he was still living in 1984, and it was presented by President Reagan. And I want to read you guys the citation that was read on that day. So bear with me here. So Roy Perez Benavidez, he was the rank of Master Sergeant, obviously, when he received the award, but he was at the rank of the time of the action, he was a staff sergeant. The conflict era was in Vietnam, and he was the branch of service was U.S. Army, and the Medal of Honor action date was May 2nd of 1968. And Medal of Honor action place west of Loc Ninh, Cambodia. His unit was Detachment B 56, 5th Special Forces Group, Airborne, 1st Special Forces. And here's the citation that was read. Master Sergeant, then Staff Sergeant Roy P. Benavidez, United States Army, who distinguished himself by a series of daring and extremely valorous actions on 2nd of May, 1968, while assigned to Detachment B-56, 5th Special Forces Group, Airborne. 1st Special Forces, Republic of Vietnam. On the morning of 2nd May, 1968, a 12-man Special Forces reconnaissance team was inserted by helicopters in a dense jungle area west of Loc Ninh, Vietnam, to gather intelligence information about confirmed large-scale enemy activity. This area was controlled and routinely patrolled by the North Vietnamese Army. After a short period of time on the ground, that the team met heavy enemy resistance and requested emergency extraction. 3 helicopters attempted extraction but were unable to land due to the intense enemy small arms and anti-craft fire. Sergeant Benavidez was at the forward operating base in Loc Ninh, monitoring the operation by radio when these helicopters returned to offload wounded crew members and to assess aircraft damage. Staff Sergeant Benavidez voluntarily boarded and a returning aircraft to assist in another extraction attempt. Realizing that all the team members were either dead or wounded and unable to move to the pickup zone, he directed the aircraft to a nearby clearing while he jumped from the hovering helicopter and ran approximately 75 meters under withering small arms fire to the crippled team. Prior to reaching the team's position, he was wounded in his right leg, face, and head. Despite these painful injuries, he took charge, repositioning the team members and directing their fire to facilitate their landing of the extraction aircraft and the loading of the wounded and dead team members. He then threw smoke canisters to direct the aircraft to the team's position, despite his severe wounds and under intense enemy fire. He carried and dragged half of the wounded team members to the awaiting aircraft. He then provided protective fire by running alongside the aircraft as it moved to pick up the remaining team members. As the enemy's fire intensified, he hurried to recover the body and classified documents on the dead team leader. When he reached the leader's body, Sergeant Benavidez was severely wounded by small arms fire in the abdomen and grenade fragments in his back. At nearly the same moment, the aircraft pilot was mortally wounded and his helicopter crashed. Although in extremely critical condition due to his multiple wounds, Sergeant Benavidez secured the classified documents and made his way back to the wreckage, where he aided and wounded out of the overturned aircraft and gathered the stunned survivors into a defensive perimeter. Under increasing enemy automatic weapons and grenade fire, he moved around the perimeter, distributing water and ammunition to his weary men, reinstilling in them a will to live and fight. Facing a buildup of enemy opposition with a beleaguered team, Sergeant Benavidez mustered his strength, began calling in tactical airstrikes and directed the fire from supporting gunships to suppress the enemy's fire, and so permitted another extraction attempt. He was wounded again in his thigh by small arms fire while administering first aid to a wounded team member. Just before another extraction, a helicopter was able to land. His indomitable spirit kept him going as he began to ferry his comrades to the craft. On his second trip with the wounded, he was clubbed from additional wounds to his head and arms before killing his adversary. He then continued under devastating fire to carry the wounded to the helicopter. Upon reaching the aircraft, he spotted and killed two enemy soldiers who were rushing the aircraft from an angle that prevented the aircraft door gunner from firing upon them. With little strength remaining, he made one last trip to the perimeter to ensure that all classified material had been recollected or destroyed, and to bring in the remaining wounded. Only then, in extremely serious condition from numerous wounds and loss of blood, did he allow himself to be pulled into an extraction aircraft. Sergeant Benavidez's gallant choice to join voluntarily his comrades who were in critical straits, to expose himself constantly to withering enemy fire, and his refusal to be stopped despite numerous severe wounds saved the lives of at least 8 men. His fearless personal leadership, tenacious devotion to duty, and extremely valorous actions in the face of overwhelming odds were in keeping with his highest tradition of the military service and reflect the utmost credit on him in the United States Army. There's some additional details. They accredited to Houston Harris County in Texas. It was not awarded posthumously because he was still alive when they were presented. The presentation date was February 24th of 1981 at the Pentagon Courtyard. It was presented by President Ronald Reagan. And then some of his background: he was born on August 5th of 1935, so his birthday's coming up, or his posthumous birthday is coming up here on next month. He passed away on December 3rd, 1998 in El Campo, Texas, in the United States, and he was buried at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in San Antonio, Texas. The location of the medal, which this has not been updated, but to say that it's at the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, California, which is actually incorrect because if I remember correctly, when I was doing my research, it was given back to the family, and now it lives in the Medal of Honor Museum here in Arlington, Texas. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I want to introduce to you my guest of the week, my interview of the week. So, please welcome to the stage. Please welcome to the show, Yvette Benavidez Garcia. And if I knew what I was doing today, I would tell you that this is the intro for it.
The Battle Rhythm Podcast interview of the week is brought to you by Oklahoma Harley Davidson. Stop by the Houston Harley team for all your Harley Davidson needs.
First and foremost, welcome to the show, Yvette. Thank you for coming in. We are very, very excited to have you join us today. And like a good journalist reporter, I hounded you for about 3 weeks for you to join us. So thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor and it is my pleasure. And what a great intro for me. I've never had that.
Well, we try to do things like we're professionals here, but we're really not. I mean, I'm just a guy that just likes to talk a lot, and you probably like, shut up, Caesar, at some point.
Well, that looked very professional, so I appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. And please tell me, did I miss anything as far as the latter information that I presented? That the medal was actually given back to you guys, I believe, in December, correct?
Right. We in January, early January of 2025, my brother and sister and I, we flew to Simi Valley, and we were able to retrieve the medal so that we could present it at the National Medal of Honor Museum in Arlington, Texas, where it is going to be for at least the next 5 years that we are aware of. It may be there for longer. But if you visit the Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington area, you are more than welcome to go see it. It's there.
So I have to tell a little background story, and please, I'm not taking anything away from your story, but Simi Valley is actually very, very close to where I actually lived for about 10 years. Actually, both of my sons actually live in Ojai, which is in the same county as Simi Valley, in Ventura County. Simi, I think it's still, I think it's Ventura County. No, sorry, I apologize. It's LA County, but it neighbors Ventura County. So my boys live in Ojai, and I used to work all over Simi Valley, Westlake, Thousand Oaks, which is all neighboring neighborhoods there, and also in the valley, which is a San Fernando Valley. So I had been to the Reagan Library several times as when I worked for a cable company. I'm not naming any name, Spectrum, but that's when I went in, because they actually held the internet was actually given to them by Spectrum. So it was actually pretty cool that I actually ended up going there.
It's a beautiful area, and hopefully, maybe it'll go back eventually after 5 years. The museum in Arlington is supposed to do a rotation of Medal of Honor recipients. So the ones that are being showcased right now will be rotated out maybe, and my father's artifacts may or may not still be there in 5 years. We don't know. We don't know what kind of, if people are going to want other people to look at. We don't know. So if that happens, then we will send it back to Simi Valley.
That's awesome. And the reason why, and people don't know, or may not know, and this is why we do this type of show, to inform people as to why the Reagan Library was chosen. Well, President Reagan, during his presidency, only awarded 2 Medal of Honor awards, and Master Benavidez was one of them.
Right. And, obviously he was the one who presented my father with the medal. So we felt that it was very fitting. He does have in the museum there. He has written in his diary the day that he presented my father the medal. So it just was appropriate for us to have the medal there.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, I take it you're the baby of the family.
I'm actually not. I'm the middle child. I may look like the baby, but I'm the middle child, and I get grief for being the middle. The middle child.
Yeah, the syndrome.
Yeah.
the middle kid syndrome. I'm the oldest, so I know. Completely different, right? It is what it is. But I guess I would mention that is because it seems like I don't know, either the oldest or the youngest are usually the ones that will carry the weight of the parent for whatever reason. And I'm just saying family dynamics. You know what I mean? That observation. Usually the oldest is the one that carries or cares for the younger siblings, and the youngest is usually the rebellious one. And they're usually like the ones like, oh, you know what? The black sheep of the family. Okay, it's like, okay, got it. And they're usually one of those two will be the bearers of the parent, right? Or the older parent. So I'm just
Yeah,
at
and
least in
we
Mexican households, that's how it is.
right. And my brother and sister and I, we each carry different torches of the family.
Uh-huh.
And we're all very active in my father's and my mom's estate, and carrying on their legacy. So sometimes we come together and do things together, and sometimes we're separate. But in the end, we all carry the same torch, which is carrying on our father's legacy.
Right. So I have to ask you this. Were you present when it was actually awarded to him?
I was actually.
Really?
I was about 10 years old, and I still remember it like it happened yesterday. And it was just a great week of festivities that precluded, everything that was going on with the medal. We had a great time. I recently posted some behind the scenes, or footage of never
Right.
before seen footage of the pre-ceremony, and I remember it as if it just happened yesterday.
That's so crazy. I mean, to think that, you know, first of all, the you were close enough to meet Ronnie, because Ronnie was like
Yes.
one of my
Ronald
favorite things, right?
Reagan
Did
and
you?
George Bush.
Oh, father, yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Older,
yes,
older
and
Bush,
the
yeah, yeah.
wives and Casper Weinberger. It was we
Was
met.
Harry
I've
Kiss?
met a lot of people.
Was Harry Kissinger there? Do you remember?
No,
No.
no, he
Okay.
was not.
Because I think he was. I believe he was Secretary of State, if I remember correctly. I think he was Secretary of State
Uh,
during that time.
I think
Anyway,
another time, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh well,
I did
we'll
not
do.
get to meet Jimmy Carter. He was the one who actually signed that my father should receive the medal, but then he got out of office, and it was Reagan who
Got
became
it.
president. So Reagan was the one who awarded the medal.
That is so cool. I mean,
It's
it's just
very
amazing.
cool.
Right. So when you went back to see me, did you guys actually end up going to the ranch of where he actually lived up in
I
Salvador
did
area?
not get to do that. I had to fly back. I was only there for like, I think 2 days, 3 days. So I did not get to do that. But the next time I go back, I will for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's so awesome. Did you happen to see the movie that they did about Reagan?
No. Oh, no, not that one. I have not seen it yet.
Yeah. The so
I need
what's his
to.
name? God, what's his name?
Is it Dennis
Dennis Quaid. Yeah,
Quaid?
Dennis Quaid. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid was the one that actually portrayed Ronald Reagan, and it was actually really good. Uh, obviously, like anything, there's some very good historical facts, and then
Uh-huh.
some made up, romantic,
Right.
romanticized things of
Oh, yeah.
Hollywood. So,
Of
that's
course.
what it was. But so let me ask you this. I started reading some of the book, and obviously I went through a period of life. So early life from my dad. He lost his dad at a very young age, right?
Very, very young age. He was about 5 years old when he lost his dad to tuberculosis, and about 4 years later, he lost his mother to the same disease.
Hmm. And then
Yes.
he was then taken by his uncle and
Yes.
aunt, right? And then he grew up
Hmm.
with the other. Well, at that point they're going to be
His
siblings, but
cousins, yes.
right.
Right. So before his dad passed away, he had an older brother, Nicholas, and he asked him, if anything happens to me, please, I want you to take my two boys. And so, fast forward then to 4 years later when my dad's mother died, she had remarried a guy
Mm,
by the name of Pablo Chavez. And it was pretty apparent that he did not want to raise my grandmother's two children, which was my dad
right.
and his brother. So they were going to separate them. I don't know who was going to take them. I don't know if the state was going to get involved or if they were going to go to other family members. But Nicholas arrived at the funeral and basically said, y'all are both coming with me. He drove them back to the hometown of El Campo, which is the town that my father ended up retiring to,
Hmm.
and the town that my mother's family was living in. And he raised him as his own. He had, 9 other children. One eventually ended up passing away. So he had eight other cousins who quickly became his brothers and sisters, and his wife, which was my dad's aunt, Alexandra. They raised my dad and his brother Roger as if they were their own.
Right. So is Roger still with us, or
No, sadly, he passed away a couple of years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago.
right? And your dad passed away in '98, right?
Yes, yes.
So um, did you always attend functions with him when as a Medal of Honor recipient? Did you always attend functions with him?
You know, my brother seemed to have attended more functions than I did, but I did attend a few. Whenever he would go to conventions, he would take the whole family. So we did get to travel with him to conventions. I went with him to Washington, Seattle, Washington. I went to him to Hawaii. But my brother traveled a lot with him. And then my dad had some close friends who were his quote unquote assistants who traveled with him. But yes, I did get to travel with him, not as much as I probably should have. And I regret that, but I did get to partake in a lot of his traveling.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, because I had another Medal of Honor recipient not long ago. You might remember the name. He was the name is Doc Ballard.
Yeah.
Um, so Donald, Doc, and he was also a Vietnam era, and he when I told him that you were going to come on, he's like, "Oh yeah," and he sent me several pictures of them together at different functions, and I was like, "Wait, is that you, Doc?" He's all, "Yeah, that's me," because he was young, you know. Obviously, it was a few years ago, but I was like, you know, just messing with him. Great guy and everything. So it was just funny to see, but it was just it just goes to show that how small of a community the
Yes.
Medal of Honor are. So for those of you that may not know, there have been 3,561 um, Medal of Honors awarded, and there right now there is only 61 recipients that are
Living.
still living.
Mhm.
So you know, obviously, right now our Vietnam veterans are when you and I were growing up, the World War II veterans were the ones that were, you know, at this age as the Vietnam
Right.
veterans. So um, to see these guys now, like it, you know, the sort of like the recognition that the World War II veterans were getting back in the day
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
it's great because especially the ones that were gone in between 67 and 69, which is 68. Those who were gone in 68, there was a lot that happened in the U.S. as far as turmoil is, and so when they came back, I mean, they were never a welcome home anything. They were not
Yeah.
obviously welcome home at all. So every time you hear someone now and they're speaking to a Vietnam vet, they're always telling, "Hey, welcome home,"
Welcome
because they
home. Yes,
never got that,
I know.
never did. So
Sadly, yeah.
yeah, and it's a very sad um uh, period of American history, you know. So
Yeah,
unfortunately, that's
absolutely. Absolutely.
so. All right, so let's get back to the book real quick. So you wrote this book in 2017, and it's called Tango Mike Mike, and I didn't realize as to why it was called Tango Mike Mike. I was like, Tango, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And then I started reading you know the synopsis and everything. And it said Tango Mike Mike is what his comrades or what his team members were calling him as the mad Mexican because he was just like not as a because he was a mad man, but it was because he was doing mad actions, right? Like he
Right.
was
The mean Mexican. Yeah. And Tango Mike Mike was his call sign. And that's what he was known as among his brothers in arms. And so I wanted, when I originally wrote the book, I wrote it because I'm an educator and I was teaching fourth grade at the time. And a lot of my students would always ask, is there anything that we can read about your father? They knew who my father was. We'd watch certain videos,
Mhm.
but all the books that were written about my dad or that my dad had co-authored, We're about 300 pages long, as most books are. Fourth graders, they don't like to, not too many like to read. A lot of them can't read. Actually a dyslexic teacher currently. And so, a lot of people I've grown to realize have struggles with reading. Not just because they don't like it, but because they struggle. And so when I wrote this book, I wanted to write it for children, as a children's book, very quick and easy read. A lot of people, if they're expecting this to be, a book that's more than 200 or 300 pages long, this isn't that book. This was intended for 7-year-olds to 12-year-olds. And then after I wrote it, a lot of adults wanted to buy it. And I thought, you know what? It's also for the young at heart. So it's not this, grandiose book that you're going to get a lot of background information. You just get the gist. And
Right.
that's what my intention was for those kids to read it so that they could walk away getting the gist of who Roy P. Benavidez was and get an understanding of his history, his life, his legacy, and walk away being encouraged and inspired.
So, was there something specifically that he told you before passing that he wanted to keep as far as his legacy? Did he tell you, "Hey, you need to keep my legacy alive, or you need to do this and this"? Was there anything like that that was
Well,
given?
yeah, before he passed away, he did always talk about because a movie had wanted to be a movie was in the works early on, and the person who had the life rights
Mm-hmm.
eventually just didn't get very far with it. But he always knew in the back of his mind that after he passed away, that's probably when the movie was going to be made.
Right.
But he wanted his legacy, I guess, just to continue. We never really talked about it. But I felt like being his child, and I've gotten some compliments from people who I work with on other projects. The compliments that they always give me is that, wow, I would only hope that my children would carry on the legacy that I have for me,
Right.
the way that you're carrying on the legacy for your dad. And so when I opened or started his YouTube channel and his Facebook and all the social medias, I did it with the intent to keep his followers, the people who follow him, informed about what
Mhm.
was going on, the accolades, the things that we were doing as a family. That was the intention behind it. And then it slowly started to grow into, people wanted to hear more about him.
Right.
Or people hadn't heard about him and they wanted to learn. And so now it's become this an opportunity for us to just continue to carry on his legacy, to tell his story. And so, but I don't think my dad really ever said, "Oh, you better do this and please do this." He wasn't that type of father and person anyway. He was very humble about everything that he did. And so
I have a
I
feeling that
know,
he was one of those people that didn't really want the attention, right? Like
yeah,
he didn't
believe
really
it or
like it.
not. Yeah, believe it or not, he really didn't. And he felt like he was doing, he had to go out and talk about his experience and get in front of people and talk about what happened, in the mission, so that he could help people who were going through similar situations that he might be going through.
Right.
So he felt like he just needed to do that for those who had passed away. He needed to tell their stories and keep their legacies alive.
Now, uh, obviously, going through such a traumatic experience, like I read the citation, and the incredible. I'm sure these are like the 20 minutes, and it seemed like an eternity. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how long it was, but it just seemed like it was an eternity. Well,
Yeah.
did you ever did you ever notice him struggling, like emotionally, physically, mentally, like breaking down at certain points? I mean, obviously they didn't know about PTSD at that point. They still called
Yeah,
it shell
yeah,
shock. Did you
right.
notice anything during that time?
During when I was growing up, I did not notice things
Uh huh.
until after he passed away
Uh huh.
and after I started to get to know him as an adult. and through the journey that I've taken to carry on his legacy, that's when I realized and I started to put two and two together. And I started to have these recollections of things, of little things that he did or said, the actions that he did that kind of were like, oh, wait a minute,
Right.
that maybe he was struggling in certain aspects. But yeah, during growing up, my father was very protective, um, and he protected, I think, our mentality towards what any type of fear, panic, worry, or an anxiety that he may have been going through.
Mm-hmm.
If he was, I never knew it. And he shielded us and protected us
Mm-hmm.
so much that we didn't recognize it. And I'm so thankful for that because I know how powerful our minds are.
Right.
And I know that if I had seen something, or if I was aware that he was struggling, it may have changed the whole trajectory of who I were to become later in life.
Right. Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it completely does. Yeah.
Because nobody wants to see their parent
No,
cry
suffer. No.
or panic or have
Exactly.
anxiety or have fear. And so perhaps he did it deliberately. Maybe he wasn't struggling outright.
Right.
I don't know, but yeah. Later in life, I kind of thought, oh, maybe he was kind of dealing with some things,
Right.
which
And it's
rightfully so. Who hasn't gone to battle
right.
hasn't dealt with some type of issue.
Yeah, correct. It's
Yeah.
hard to judge those or see if somebody's not being um what's the word, if somebody's not actually displaying those symptoms or or those
Right.
big things, and I'm sure there's no reason as to to why, but
Yeah. Now, I did see him physically struggle. I did see him struggle to get up from a sitting position. I
uh-huh.
did see him struggle to walk. I did witness when the weather would turn cold, his muscles would tense up, and he had a hard time, walking. I did witness a lot of the hurt and pain that he went through on a daily basis in those terms.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
that's
He struggled.
yeah. That's hard to again, it's hard to gauge, especially if somebody didn't really know too much about it, because I'm sure
Right.
a lot of uh I don't know if you know your generations and whatnot, but the greatest generation, which was the World War II vets, they hardly ever talked about it.
Yeah,
And
and my dad didn't. I like I said, he shielded us so well that I really didn't know the gravity of who he was as a Medal of Honor recipient. Yeah, we went to the Medal of Honor ceremony, and it was an amazing celebration, and he received so many accolades, but I just never really put two and two together um, in a crazy way um, until I can't even remember when it was, but we were on an airplane and he got up to go walk. And he came back down and he hurriedly sat next to me and strapped himself in and kind of nudged me and looked at me and rolled his eyes, and I was like, oh no, what's about to happen? And then the steward got on and announced that Medal of Honor recipient was on board. And I mean, before we left, people were coming up and shaking his hand and wanting to get his autograph and taking pictures. And then after that, it was like people just started to notice him as we were driving on the highway because he had a Medal of Honor license plate. So, I mean, it was like I slowly started to see, oh, people really like and know my dad and are in awe of him. So
as a man, right? I mean, like you're like here you are, like th- so far, a lot of people will say this, and I'm saying it. I'm a lot of people, uh, but I believe that a movie has already been done about him, and it's called Rambo.
a lot of people think my dad
Right.
was inspired because of Rambo, and that is such a cool thing to have, but it's so not true.
Right. But
Yeah,
at the
but
very end, because there was like 4 of them, and the very last one that there was, he actually ended up being in Mexico. So,
yeah, you're right.
so I'm
But
just saying, what
yeah,
correlation is there?
yeah, I know,
So,
I know.
is there any other thought that you put any other thought into actually writing a different book, not about his
Yeah,
legacy, but about what you experienced as you're describing to us growing up, as observing your dad. Like, you see your dad as like your own hero, right? Like all the time, you're like, oh, my dad's like, he's so invincible, and he was, yeah,
yeah,
literally was,
yeah, it
and
was. He had
here
9
you are,
lives.
right? And here you are, like not realizing the magnitude of what he did or what he accomplished, but
Yeah,
other people did. And I would be really interested to see and see your point of view. Obviously, you're telling me now, but I
yeah,
think I
yeah,
think when you romanticize it a little bit more and you put it into paper, the other feelings will come out, because I think our subconscious
right.
will go back into something and be like, okay, you know what? I remembered in 1985 when he took me out for ice cream, and he was like,
Yeah.
oh, I was old. I don't know, things like that. I
I
would be
do
really
have
interested.
I do have two kind of different thoughts about writing books. One of them, I do have a blog, a WordPress blog that I started a couple of years ago. And I kind of, whenever I have a thought or a moment or a
Uh-huh.
memory, I'll write it down. And so I thought about putting those into a book. So that's one of them. And then I also had a thought about getting the grandkids. He only got to meet 3 grandkids, and of course they didn't really get to know him because they were very small
Right.
when he passed away, so they don't remember him as a grandpa. But I thought about getting their perspective, all the grandkids, the great 8, as my sister coined the phrase. I'd like to get their perspective on what they think of him as a grandpa, and kind of each of the chapters, the grandpa. And
Right.
then, we have some quotes or some information from his brothers when they were alive. So maybe some information, him as a brother, him as an uncle, him as a soldier, him as a dad,
Mhm.
a
As a
brother-in-law
husband.
yeah, things like that, a husband, and kind of give the perspective from those types of people. So yeah, maybe one
Right.
day.
All right. So we've come to the portion of the show where we're going to take a quick little break. And
Okay.
first of all, I want to thank my sponsors, Texoma Harley Davidson, who have been great hosts for us. Thank you so much to the team there at Texoma Harley Davidson. Also, EGA Construction out of the DFW area. Lynn Toomer, thank you so much for all your support. Scott's Construction, are out of the Alabama area, believe it or not. So I have national sponsors here. So thank you very
Great.
much, Scott, for that. And both of those dudes, EGA and Scott's Construction, and I'm going to make a correlation here. So, and I know you know about this. Both of those gentlemen are actually running for the National Junior Vice Commander in Chief for the VFW. So they're great friends, but yeah, they're great enemies at the same time. So, and they're both I remain neutral, and as I also live in this great city of Texas, I think Scott knows where my allegiance lies, and it's nothing personal. It's just Texas. It's just how it goes. But I say, you know what? I plead the fifth. But at that point, it's like it is what it is. So thank you to EGA Construction and Scott's Construction for being one of our sponsors. Also, Black Sheep Lounge. The Black Sheep Lounge is one of my newest sponsors. They are actually a great little cigar lounge. We go in there. Great. I tell you, I go in there and just relax. And they have one of the best like old fashions, and they smoke it with cherry. Oh, so good. I was like, it's still early. They'll be open by the time I'm done with the show, so I might see them there. So, but yeah, thank you to Black Sheep Lounge, and also thank you to the American Legion Riders Post 231, the MIA Post. Thank you for your support. They are actually my sponsors for my website that is being worked on. So thank you guys so much for your continuous support. So with that, I'm going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be asking some harder questions to Yvette. Ms. Benavidez here. So we're gonna be when you don't go anywhere, and I'm gonna share a couple of insights about the show as well. So stay tuned. When we come back, I want to play you this quick little video. It was done by my friend Veli Bond from the K10 News. It was about a man who is a World War II, Korea, and Vietnam veteran. And at the end of this video, I am going to be asking you questions that were on this. So it's going to be, since you're an educator, I'm an educator too. So I'm going to give you a quiz. So make sure you pay attention to this. And when we come back, we are going to be talking some more to Yvette. So thanks for listening here on Voice of the People U.S.A. Radio and TV Network, also on Busey Digital and on Patriot Radio out of Florida. Thank you so much to my friend Maverick and his co-sidekick Goose. I kid you not, Maverick and Goose, they have their own show, and it'll be very, very soon will be on Voice of the People. So they're out there listening, and we are being broadcasted right now live through their network as well. So when we come back, we're going to be playing. So we will be asking Yvette some of these questions about this video. Just pay attention; it'll be good. But when you come back, we'll be back with Yvette. Thank you.
As he approaches his 96th birthday, Jim Hahn still remembers intimate details about his time serving as a Marine in World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, and he also remembers how it all started.
Mother wasn't going to sign. I told her, I said, if you don't sign this, I'll lie about my age. And she signed.
He was inspired to enlist when walking down the street at 16 years old. He tells K10 he saw some people messing with a Marine and his girlfriend.
They was doing anything they could try to make him mad. He told his girlfriend there to go down and wait for him at the red light at the end of the street there. He turned around and whipped all four of those guys.
A year later, he was off to San Diego for basic training. Han joined the occupation force in both China and Japan during World War II, which marks the only time in the history of Japan that it has been occupied by a foreign power. A bitter time these days, though. Gunnery Sergeant Han holds tight to the sweeter moments.
It's going into Japan, there, into town. I seen all these little kids running around there, and they looked like they was hungry and everything else. So I started in getting candy from our PX and taking it in there and giving it to the little kids. It got to where whenever I'd come inside the city limits, man, here come all these kids.
What he didn't realize at the time, candy would one day become his lifeline. In November of 1950, just a few months after the Korean War began, 8,000 fighters, mostly Marines, were trapped in the Chonjin Reservoir, surrounded by 120,000 Chinese soldiers. And you guessed it, Sergeant Han was one of those Marines.
If somebody told me this, I'd have thought of him as being a liar, because I did not think that it would get 90 degrees below zero. I seen guys just walking along, and all of a sudden I could stop walking, and they just did. They'd freeze to death while they was walking.
Freezing, barely hanging on to life. The Marines called for ammunition using their code word, Tootsie Roll.
I never will forget that. They got on the radio there and talking to them, said, send us some Tootsie Rolls. And they was talking about ammunition, a certain type of ammunition.
Well, the soldier on the other end of that radio took the message literally, and they dropped into the reservoir Tootsie Rolls.
Here's this 3 planes there coming out with these parachutes coming down there with Tootsie Rolls. It's supposed to be ammunition, but it's Tootsie Rolls. But if it hadn't been for them, a lot of us, including me, would probably starve to death.
Those little chocolate candies were the fuel that sustained the troops. All other provisions were frozen, so they survived on the chocolate.
It seemed impossible that they was there for any other reason than to save my life. I thank God many times the fact that I lived through all of it. Didn't lose any arms or legs or anything that way. I sat in this foxhole, and people all around me freezing. Some reason or other I didn't.
He says all he thought about was his next breath and how he would use it.
I don't know, I still think about it sometimes. I know and God saved me from it. Try to thank God 3 or 4 or 5 times a day about that.
Decades later, Sergeant Hahn literally holds on to that memory with a bucket of Tootsie Rolls made specifically for him with American flags after the company heard his story. Those Marines that made it out are now revered as the heroes of the Frozen Chosen. But this one calls Texoma home, and he chooses to spend his time right here in the Sherman VFW.
I feel like they're brothers. This, to me, is part of the military.
As this veteran reflects on a life of service most would never know, Hahn would do every second of it again. The few, the proud, the Marines.
It was such an honor to be able to sit down with Jim, and I just want to say right here on the record, thank you for your service. Not only a World War II veteran, a 3-war veteran. He decided to just keep going back. I know.
And you know, I had heard that, I knew that there was something involving Tootsie Rolls, but that was the first time I actually heard that full story, and that is so incredible.
And he's just walking around Texoma.
This is why you need a dock built by veterans. This is why quality matters, wherever you call home. This is why Scott's Construction does it differently. At Scott's Construction, we don't just build boat docks, we build legacies. As a veteran-owned, family-run company out of Alabama, our roots run deep in discipline, service, and attention to detail. Whether your waterfront is a quiet lake in the south or a bustling marina up north, our custom docks are designed to fit your life and last for generations. Our team handles everything, permits, design, and flawless construction, so you can focus on what matters, making memories on the water. We're proud to serve boaters across the USA, and prouder still to stand behind every board we lay. Choose Scott's Construction for your next dock and experience the dedication only a veteran-owned company can deliver. Ready to raise your standards? Let's build your dream dock together.
Welcome back to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. My name is Caesar. I am here joined by Yvette Benavidez Garcia. And you are listening to us on Voice of the People USA Radio and TV Network, Busey Digital, and also on Patriot Radio. And Yvette, I need to be transparent about something. I totally forgot to do so. And some people get some like camera shy and also radio shy. But I wanted to give you a heads up that we are being listened to right now in 73 countries.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Right. So the legacy of your dad, of Master Benavidez, is going to be well known everywhere. One of those countries being the Philippines. That we know there was a big army, especially because General Douglas MacArthur was promised to return one day. He did during World War II. So we have a very big presence. We have a lot of fans out in the Philippines. Also, a Republic of Dubai. I don't know if it's a republic, but the country of Dubai. So we're being heard in Dubai, and also weirdly enough in Brazil. Wow. So yeah, so obrigado, muchas gracias por estar con vosotros. That's my
congratulations for being in all these countries. That's
Thank
amazing.
You. Yes, and obviously our all of our friends here in the United States. So thank you so much for being listening to us. That is our biggest audience, and this is what we strive for. And our friends all actually also in the Great North of Canada. Some people call it the 51st state. Some other people call it Canada, which we're just going to call it Canada. So to start that, but people get upset because of this. I'm just saying, hey. TikTok is TikTok, and they call it the 51st state. I'm just saying. I'm not calling it that. I'm just saying that's what it's being called.
No, Canada is Canada.
That's right. That's right. But it's crazy. So, getting back to our thing here. Thank you so much for Scott's Construction. This is what the segment is being brought to you by Scott Construction out of Alabama. I wish I knew the actual town it was in Alabama, but it's in Alabama. I know that, and he's built some very beautiful marinas and some docks, and I'm like, man, I'm expected to go out there for a fishing tournament here soon, and he's like, you can stay at my house. I was like, oh yes, I will be staying at your house. It's gonna be great. That's right. It's like, hey, say no more. I'm there.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Nope. I'll bring the beer. Don't you worry about that. So All right, so I just played you a video done by my friend Bailey Vaughn from the K10 News here locally, and she highlighted one of my posts, the VFW post 2772 here in Sherman. Because Denison is our neighboring city, and Denison is the birthplace of President Eisenhower. Do you know that?
Sure. Yes.
Well, very well. Played it off very well. That's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the birthplace of President Eisenhower, and so his presidential library would not be here, which is not. I don't even know where it is. I don't even think it's in Dallas, to be honest with you. But anyway, he was born here. His house is still his birth house is still here, and there's a big place and everything. So she did it, and he grew up in Denison. So he's part of the VFW here in Sherman, VFW Post 2772. So it's been great to see something like that. And what an incredible story, right? Just like your dad's, but this was even more incredible at the fact that, pardon me, that the weather conditions that they endured was crazy, right? So the whole battle of the Chosin Reservoir, they called it the Frozen Chosin. But then the ones that survived, they're actually known as something else. They're known as the chosen few because only few of them survived. But it's incredible to see, to think that one little mistake that they didn't really tell them what the code name for the ammunition was, because only one side heard it, the other side didn't.
Yeah.
And just comes, and here it is, the Tootsie Roll, man.
Tootsie Roll. Yeah.
Yep. So the one thing that was not mentioned on the mini documentary is that they use, even though they were using that chocolate to sustain, right, to eating and everything, they used it. They found that if they heat it up a little bit, they broke it in half and then put it into
their mouth.
Into the bullet holes that in the wall on the bulkhead. They would put it on there and it would stop the wind from coming in. Yeah. So they found that it was just, there were so many uses for it.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's right. And they did. And did you happen to hear how many U.S. troops there were between Marines and Army?
120,000.
Good. That was actually the Chinese, but yeah, close. The Chinese had over 100,000, and then the American troops only had 8,000.
8,000.
Yeah. So it was crazy, right? So it's the same thing. The crazy thing is that obviously wars are fought differently in different areas, and Vietnam was actually fought by guerrilla style, which is the same thing that we did when in the Revolutionary War. We did guerrilla tactics, and here we are. We're being beaten and surprised with guerrilla tactics in Vietnam, and some of that stuff we were talking about that your dad did valorously and gallantly. It's just incredible to see the evolution of how everything was, right? Because at that point you had horses, but then you have over here you have steel horses, and birds and machines and everything. So it's just completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah. So all right, so now we get to the point of our show where we kind of switch gears a little bit. And the way we switch gears is by the questions I ask. So, first of all, I want to thank you once again for taking the time to being here with us today. I've been looking forward to it for the last 3-4 weeks. I think I started hounding you maybe a month ago. You're like, you need to be here. You need to be here. You need to be here. And I didn't realize the magnitude. And I've been blowing it up at work. I've been blowing it up with everybody. I was like, hey, I'm gonna have so and so, and every Army veteran that I know is the name Benavidez is synonymous. Everybody knows Master Sergeant Benavidez. Everybody knows that. It knows that name and knows the story. And even if you know like any special forces guys, which I do, and I texted him this morning. One of my good friends, he's been on my show before, not naming any names in this time, but he's like, oh yeah, that's cool. She's gonna be on it, and knows the name. Like I said, everybody knows that name, and it's just very synonymous, especially because Army, Vietnam, and it's crazy. So the whole thing. So it's pretty cool. But we're gonna change gears and actually ask, kind of not leave so much of his life, but I want to focus on your life, on what the things that you've done. So you mentioned you were an educator, and you've been doing that what, a couple years now?
Yes, I'm starting my 25th year.
There you go. That's
So I am
incredible.
up for retirement.
I don't blame me. I want to retire. I want to retire too, and just not do
Yeah.
anything. That's awesome. So you mentioned right now you're doing dyslexia.
Dyslexia, I've done, I started out in fourth grade, then went to first grade, then back to fourth grade, then 504. And the last, with 504, I've been a dyslexic interventionist. So for the last 5 years, I've helped students who have impairments or disabilities, and I've helped them write their plans for the classroom, their 504 plans. And I help them, more importantly, be an advocate for themselves, to stand up and be a voice if they are struggling in the classroom and if they need help. So that's where my expertise has been for the last 5 years.
And have you lived in Texas your entire life?
No, I was born in Fort Riley, Kansas. And so lived there, was born there, lived there. And then my dad, when he retired in 76, we moved to San Antonio. I think we were there earlier though, because my brother was born in San Antonio.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, my brother's a Texan. But yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, no, I'm in Kansas. Sorry.
I'm proud of my birth state.
I mean, everybody would be. I mean, it's okay. You don't have to lie to make friends. It's fine. We already passed that stage. It's fine. So, when you were growing up, when did your dad get out of the army?
1976, I think his retirement was 1975, 76.
Okay, so you didn't really live the military life where you were moving back and forth?
No, not at all. Not really. Not that I remember. And then he retired. He went to San Antonio, Fort Sam, and my brother was born there. And then he retired in about 1975. He had 25 years in the military, and then we retired to El Campo, Texas, where he and my mother raised the family.
So, what made you decide to become an educator?
Oh gosh, at the time, I got a degree from the University of Texas at Austin, and I shortly about, right after that, I started to help my dad with. I wanted to help him, I guess, be a voice, help be a voice for him. Do whatever I could, and then I got into teaching because I wanted to help kids. I wanted to understand what it took to get them to learn. And I wanted to teach them. And education was something I initially didn't think I was ever going to get into. But then when I started to have my own family and think about having a family, it became more of a reality for me. And so I've spent 25 years in education.
So it had nothing to do with what your dad said?
Well, I obviously, that's always been in the back of my mind, and education is the key to success. That's always been there. So yeah, I mean, it did have a little bit to do with it.
Right. Because in the back of your book, you do have education is the key to success, bad habits and bad company will ruin you.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that obviously that had some way of
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure.
Right.
For sure.
And that you like how I did that? Yes. I wanted to bring that up because I was like, you know what? That's actually a very, very, very good quote. And it's true. I've always believed that education will get you everywhere, right? Everybody's educated to in their own right. Okay. So let me explain what I mean by that. There are many things that I cannot do, that I will not do. And it's not because I don't know how to do it, and it's not because I don't want to do it, but it's because I don't find I don't find well, what's the word? Interest in. Okay.
Pleasure.
Right. It's just like it's just not. It's not something. It doesn't. It just like I feel like I'm not like I'm wasting my time. It's just something that I just don't particularly like doing.
You're
Right.
not excited about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like one of those things. I'll be very, very honest, and my wife gets mad at me all the time. It's I will not ever, 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 ever cut the lawn again. And it's because my dad, like, he would force me to go every Saturday, Friday, Saturday, even in the summer, the entire summer, to go mow lawns with him because that's what he did. He was a landscaper,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This sucks." Like, like again, I growing up in a
Hey, I
Mexican
get
family,
it. Yeah.
we're growing up in a Mexican family. Everybody had to go pull their weight, and me being the oldest and the only son, because I was the oldest and the only son. I'm a one of four.
Mhm.
I would always have to go, and it was like at that point I started getting rebellious. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to go. It's like I'm doing this, like not wrong, right? And I saw, like, now I see as a parent, I see what he was trying to do. Like he was just trying to um uh instill a work ethic in
Ethic,
me,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
But and yeah, do I have the work ethic? Probably not as much as he did, but my work ethic is completely different, right? Like my grandfather
Yeah.
always told me, he's like, education is the key to everything. You're educated. You have to go to school. You do this and this. That's like always kept in the back of my mind,
Right.
right? So that's always wanted to do. My dad, however, grew up in kind of like your dad. Like he had to like fend for himself when he was very young age, and he was working at the somewhere in Mexico, like in a ranch, and growing up with his grandparents, like who was very abusive, and they were out there in the field, plowing the field, putting all the the corn or the bean, whatever it was that they were doing, and he grew up doing that, and so he was always field worker. He came doing the same thing, and I think he tried to force that onto me. I'm like, nah, hey,
Yeah.
you brought me to this country. I'm not doing this because I came here when I was 11. I was like, nah, dude, like this is not gonna work. I'm in the United States, so it's
Yeah.
just not gonna work that way. And so now now me as a parent, like I appreciate that, the fact that he tried to do that. He tried to show
Yeah.
me what was right and what was wrong, in
Yeah.
his own way, right? Because obviously, everybody's not perfect, and he was not a perfect man, and neither am I. And at this point, like I'm just like thinking about it, like, oh well, like, you know what, a reflection. And I don't know if it happened to you when your father passed away, but my father passed away in November, a couple weeks before his birthday,
Mhm.
and this past year, and I had not talked to him for about 7 or 8 years. That I had not talked to him, and so a lot of things that I had to reflect on. It was like, okay, well, like what was he trying to teach me here? What was he trying to do? And
Yeah.
I'm mentioning this because it's like,
It's always in retrospect that
right.
you think, "Oh, they were really trying to teach me something, and I was too young, dumb, and stupid to think what it was that they were trying to teach me at the time."
Exactly. And now as a parent myself, I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's neither here nor there, and I'm just saying that it just some of those things that you remember, like you mentioned, you write and you blog everything, you remember certain other things and you write them down,
Yes. Yeah.
and after it's been almost a year that he's been gone, and it's like that reflection period. I'm still in a way mourning. Like obviously, I don't think I mourn that way, and I mentioned this when
Mhm.
he passed away. Like I don't feel um I think I had said goodbye to him a long time ago. Therefore, like there was really not much of a connection there. It's like an emotional connection there. But obviously there was that the sense of loss because yeah, overall he was still my dad. But
Yeah.
it was what I don't know what to say. It there was a void that needed to be filled, and obviously it just opened. And I think now as a parent, I have to really be careful as to how I react to my children, being doing things and doing that. And the one that's testing us right now is our 7-year-old. She is 7 going on 30, and so so she's testing both her mother and
Yeah.
I. So it's just like what we're doing next. So we'll see. But anyway, that's I guess that's my rant for the day. I don't know. I'm just going off on a tangent today. But let me ask you this. I wanted to obviously we talked about you perhaps writing another book, and and me saying that I would love to see the perspective of you seeing, all these people, when what made you feel like when everybody was just coming up to your dad and like, oh, why is such a big deal? What are they making such a big deal about it? And now I guess now as a parent, as an adult, you get to you realize what that was.
Yeah, and my dad had such an infectious personality that the more like I said, I'm on this journey to get to know him, and I love getting on social media. I think that's one of the reasons why I post a lot of the things that I post, because I do enjoy um, reading the comments and listening to people talk about how they knew him, they met him, they were in high school when he came and spoke to them, and how he changed their life, and how they invited him over for breakfast and he came, and or they met him in the elevator and he actually spoke to them. And my dad was just a normal guy
Right.
who wanted to get to know everybody. And it does not shock me at all when people say, oh, we invited him over for barbecue and a beer and he came, like, yeah,
Yeah.
my dad would. He did not put himself above anybody else, and I think we see that a lot with these famous people who, you don't want to approach them, or you think you can't approach them,
Right.
or
Right.
you can't talk to them. And a lot of the famous people, they have that persona, oh, they're maybe too, I don't want to say it, but maybe they're too good for you to even talk to them. But
Yeah, I know exactly
my
what you
dad
mean.
was not like that at all.
Right.
Not like that at all.
And it seems like again, and like I feel like your dad didn't want to have that attention on him, but then he felt a sense of duty that he had to talk to all these people because
Yeah,
of what he
absolutely.
wore, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. He was not a shy person at all. He loved to meet people. He loved to talk to people. He loved to go out. He was always gone. President Reagan, right after he presented the medal, asked my father to devote at least 1 year of his life to go out and speak to school kids and civic
Uh-huh.
organizations and military institutes and religious organizations, and to talk to them about staying in school, staying out of drugs, and staying out of gangs. And my father committed to that. He sat us down in our living room. I remember this, and he asked us if we would give him our permission for him to do that. And I remember asking him or telling him, "Are you sure it's just going to be for 1 year?" Because he made it very clear that it was just going to be for 1 year, because after 1 year, people would forget about him. And I can't speak for my brother and sister because I really don't remember where they were in their life when all this was going on. I just kind of remember me, but I was very active in softball, and I was very active student. And so my dad would come watch me play softball, and I just wanted him to continue to do that. I was very
Right.
selfish. And so I remember saying, "Are you sure it's just going to be for 1 year?" And he said, "Yes, I promise." And he devoted 17 years of his life to traveling the world. I mean, it's just incredible. It's crazy. And like I said, I love hearing from people messages saying, just reliving their memories of my dad. It's just so infectious. I love it. I love hearing from people.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's the fact that, again, it just you try to keep that family balance, between the
Yeah.
what his life's work and ended up being, and then it ended up being 17 years of, that 1 year turned 17. So
Yeah, and he had to
uh
do it. He did it
yeah.
for all of his brothers in arms, the people who didn't make it back home. He did it for them.
Now, how much of an advocate was he for veteran rights?
Oh, obviously a huge advocate. Right after he received the medal, he received a letter saying that his benefits were going to be cut. And he literally thought it was just a letter to him, and I don't know if you know the story, but he had to prove his disability at the
He's
time.
he spoke in Congress, right?
Yes, he did. He ended up speaking to Congress about it because after he received the letter telling him that he was going to be stripped of his benefits, he also received word that he had to go see a doctor, a psychiatrist. He had to go prove to the VA that he was in fact disabled. They wanted him to go back and get a 9 to 5 job, even if it was just sitting at a desk. They felt like he
God.
could go out, and yeah, it's pretty disturbing, the letter that he received, and it's very sad and heartbreaking that he went through that. But like I said in the beginning, I think he just thought he was the only one who was being questioned about his disability, and then word got out, and he started to be, I mean, inundated with letters from people all over the world saying that their benefits were going to be cut as well. So he became an advocate for them. So it's it's kind of no wonder that I'm an advocate for my students as well, and I have that drive in me because I am my father's
So
daughter.
you
For
are taking
sure.
up his legacy. You are carrying on his legacy in a different way, right?
Absolutely,
So now,
absolutely.
let me ask you this: I've already disclosed to you that I am a big member in the Texas VFW.
Mhm.
So I know for a fact that you, my friend, are eligible for the VFW auxiliary. Are
Mhm.
you a member of the auxiliary?
I've been asked several times to become a member, and I've seriously thought about it. And there's really no reason other than I'm so busy to fully commit
I
to
am
it. But
busy too.
yeah, but I do participate in some of the events that they have here.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Okay, so let me just put this thought in your head and in your mind
Hmm.
as to why I feel that you really need to be involved in the VFW. Your name carries weight, okay, and the fact that your dad was a Medal of Honor recipient, uh, for us as VFW members, because it's only a select few of the people that the VFW is very select. Well, it's an exclusive club. Unless you were in a foreign war, you're not eligible for the VFW. Your dad was, therefore you're eligible for the auxiliary. And I'm sure, I hope that he was at some point um, a member of the VFW, which I think he was. He probably
Yes.
was.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I think that if you would get to get involved, that legacy that he carried, that you want to keep having, would be very beneficial, because hey, you probably end up going up to Congress and being able to uh, proposed, and hey, I saw my dad do this and this, and I think it would carry a lot of weight. And I think that's the reason why you would be perfect for you to be involved in that whole thing. Are we busy? Yeah. I have like 14 other organizations that I belong to. I'm part of a group here, the Hispanic Heritage Community board, that we're here locally. That all of a sudden I became the entertainment guy, that I got to find a mariachi, and I got to find a couple of other things for the September, the Hispanic Heritage Month, that I got to find. Part of the American Legion, the writers. I'm part of the Ola at my job, Hispanic organization of Latino advancement or something like that. I can't remember the actual acronym, but it's called Ola. And so, do I have time for it? You know what? I have the bandwidth and I have the drive to be in all of these. So I think, if you're really passionate about something, you will always make time about it. I get it. You have family as well, and it'll take some shuffling around to do it. But your name carries weight, and I think that you would be instrumental in getting a lot of these things. Especially for veterans and families, to have to not go what your dad went through, where they like say, "Hey, but we're going to strip your benefits," which is what they're always trying to do. Seems like every year they're trying to cut benefits for veterans. So, and their families. So, because it's not just the veteran, it's obviously the families too. Because
Right. Yeah.
you know what I mean, like the burial, they're like, oh yeah, he was not eligible. Oh yes, he was. But people don't realize that there's other things that come into play for those things. So that's why I really, really encourage you to really think about that aspect of it, because you would be a great asset and benefit everybody, and you would carry on that legacy that your dad was building and built, and that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're like, shut up, I want to go now. No, it'll be fine. So where in Texas are you? You're in San Antonio still?
No, I'm in El Campo, which is near
You are El
Houston.
Campo, okay.
Mhm.
All right. Which is, I don't know, somewhere down in the valley, right?
No, it's near Houston. I'm about 58 miles from Houston, between Victoria. Have you heard Victoria?
I've heard of Victoria, yeah.
Victoria, I'm between Victoria and Houston.
Oh God. Yeah, it's probably one of those little like towns that you like blink if you pass
Yes.
by, you blink, right?
Yes.
And you miss it. Okay. All right, got
Don't blink when you're on 59 or you will miss it.
it. That's hilarious. So, all right. So, we've come to the part of the show where I try to make it fun and interesting. So I know that we've talked about the life and times of your dad and everything. We talked about your drive for being an advocate for your students, but I like to have a little fun with my guest, meaning that I like to put them on the spot. So
Okay.
without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the part of the show where we do what I like to call rapid fire questions.
Rapid fire questions brought to you by U.S.A. Construction Services out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is veteran owned and operated with over 25 years of experience.
This segment of Rapid Fire Questions is brought to you by EGA Construction out of the DFW area. Thank you to my good friend Lynn Toomer, who is the past state commander for the Department of Texas, VFW, and is currently running for the VFW National Junior Vice Commander in Chief, which we will know in August whether or not he is going to be assuming that role. So. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Lynn and Scott, because Scott's construction. They're good friends, and I always get them two together because they look like brothers. So, yeah. So, all right. Rapid fire questions. The premise of this game is that I will ask you questions, and you will answer the question. The first thing that comes to your mind, the quickest thing that comes to your mind, and you will answer that question. So, for example. What is your favorite book?
Tango Mike Mike, the Three Wars, and the Three Wars of Roy Benavidez.
See, that was good because it was right there.
So that's 2 books, so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. One you wrote, which is a good plug, a good shameless plug. I like it. And then the other one is because your dad wrote the other one, which is I have it on my Kindle, so I'm gonna definitely read that one.
And we just republished it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes.
So I have a bunch of Vietnam books that I encourage you to actually read these.
Okay.
One of my favorite ones, it's by a Sergeant Paul Reed, great friend of mine. He wrote this book. It's called the Khantum Diary. Okay. And it talks about he was crazy, just like your dad, where he went up to a camp and they were, under intense fire. He went in, into the little foxholes or whatever, and he found that there was a bunch of people. And he thought he had killed the gentleman that actually had it. So he reached into his pocket or in the backpack. Might have been a backpack. Actually, it was in the backpack in the infirmary. He reached into the pocket, grabbed it. It was a leather-bound book. He just put it in his pocket, went because they were coming back. So they left, and next thing you know, he had all this personal belongings for one of the soldiers in Vietnam, and he sent it back to his mom, to home, and he sent it back in a box where he wrote his second book. It's called The Healing Box. Well, this is the box. Well, this is not the box. This is just an illustration of the box that he sent the stuff to. So that diary was in there. Well, that diary that was on there was actually he saw a different side of the soul of the Vietnamese soldier as a person and not as a soldier that everybody was hating, right? Oh, he's Charlie, we got to kill him. And anyway, long story short, they ended up meeting. They were great friends for like 30 years after. He passed away not long ago. I believe a couple months ago, actually, he passed away. And he ended up being he's an ambassador to Vietnam. He goes to Vietnam all the time. Great book. And a lot of the book itself talks about, has poems that the Vietnamese soldier wrote.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. The other book that I received, it's called. Well, actually, I have another one. I have another one over here. I'm going to pull up. The Last Plane Out of Saigon. It was called by man. He's a lawyer down in, I think, Houston or San Antonio. Richard Pena. He wrote this book. Actually, as a matter of fact, I will point him out. He is right here. He is a gentleman with the suitcase. This right here. That is him right there. That's Richard Pena. He is the author of this book, and meaning that the last plane of Saigon, he was who's leaving literally on the very, very, very last plane out of Saigon when Saigon fell. And I have one more that you might want to read. Okay, this one is called "Fire in the Hole." It's written by Bob Parsons. Now, if that name sounds familiar to many of you, or some of you, or maybe you, Bob Parsons is the owner and founder of PGX Golf, which is a big golf company. Like, it's coming up, real big. And anyway, so he wrote this because a gentleman, I actually met him last year. A gentleman was there promoting the book, and the gentleman that I met was the Bob Parsons squad leader. So he was like a PFC or whatever, and he was just talking to him all the time. He was the founder. Actually, this guy is also the founder of GoDaddy. So he's a Vietnam vet as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. I just gave you a list of books. So, Miss Educator, go ahead and read those. And I want to
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
I want a book report back in the next time you come back to the show. Well, okay, so let's get back to our. See, I get on these tangents.
Rapid fire.
I'm telling you, it's super rapid, and it was just great. I mean, these books are awesome. So, but let's get back to our questions, because I don't want you to think that I'm very unprofessional in this way. And
okay.
My ADHD is just going all over the place right now. Yeah. So, all right. So let's get back to questions. All right. So I asked you what your favorite book was. That was actually that was a sample question. So let's get back to the actual questions, right?
Okay.
All right. So if you were president for a day, what would you change?
Everything.
At
this moment in time.
Where would you start? Where would you start?
The immigration issue. Next.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah, let's leave it at that. All right. So, obviously, Texas has been a topic of discussion in the last week, especially over the weekend, right? Because we had a pretty severe weather phenomena that had just happened, where the Guadalupe River actually rose about 26 feet, and there was actually 151 people that were swept away. Right. There was one Coast Guard guy that actually ended up saving like 129 of them.
Right.
There still have other people that have not been able to locate. So this natural disaster just happened, and the crazy thing about it is that it happened in most of these victims that they have not been able to find were in a church camp. That were there. And the crazy connection about this right now, and this is what it makes me almost cringe a little bit, is the fact that a very close friend of ours, her daughter was at that camp a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
So it's
nerve-wracking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that said, and I'm sorry I'm taking this. With that said, if you would like to donate anything right now to that fund, to the relief fund, the VFW actually is asking that you go to the VFW website for Texas Department of VFW. Go to that website as well. Post 75 in San Antonio is actually taking any donations, any type of perishables like food, also like toothbrushes, all that stuff. They're taking those donations there. So Post 75 in San Antonio. That's where they're taking most of the stuff. It's and also if you go to the Texas VFW website, they will direct you there as well as to they're centralizing everything, so you don't have to go to the post to actually give a monetary donation if you're able to do that. But let's stick together because a lot of our friends and family could have been us, and so we need to be able to give back. So yes, so that's my shameless plug. But it's I think it's important because as a community, I feel that it's important for us as a community to be helping those that were
absolutely.
So there's my plug for that. All right, let's get back to the show here. Let me ask you this. So if you had a choice, there's two major I don't know what you call them, soda pop here. What you call them, sodas. What you call them, refreshments. Well, there's two major ones here in Texas. One is Dr. Pepper, and the other one's Big Red. Which one?
Oh, neither.
What?
Neither.
What kind of Texan are you?
I know. I'm sorry. I do not drink sodas.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our show for tonight.
Why didn't you put sweet tea in there? I would drink sweet tea or
because that was the next question. God, you're killing the.
Okay, if I had to choose Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, see, now you get the gist of the show here. All right. Now, there's sweet tea, and then there's like Texas sweet tea. Right? Which one would you prefer?
Sweet tea. I do not like tea with my sugar.
Okay. All right. Actually, sweet tea or Arnold Palmer?
Well, in my family, we call it Robert Palmer. Sweet tea.
Okay. All right. Well, you keep it Southern. You're Southern, all right. Hey, biscuits or gravy? Biscuits and gravy or chicken and waffles?
Oh, chicken and waffles.
Dang, like that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever been? Obviously, you've been in California.
Yes.
Have you ever been to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles?
No.
Probably the most infamous of all chicken and waffle places.
Okay.
Yes. So next time you go to San Diego, next time you go see me in Inglewood.
Go to Roscoe's.
Inglewood. It's in Inglewood. It's literally, I think, Century Boulevard is where LAX is out of. If you go up Century Boulevard and you go on the 405, which is the major interstate.
Oh, I've driven the 405.
Right, which is weird because I didn't know. Californians always call it, they always say the 405, the 5, the 101, whatever, right? And everywhere else it's like, oh yeah, it's Interstate 30 or Interstate 45. Yeah. Like, what? Like, why can't you just say the 45? Why can't you just say the 35? They're like, you're so California. I was like, no, it makes no sense saying the interstate. Just say the 101, the 405. It doesn't matter. Just quicker. Don't, Anyway.
The 405 is like so nerve-wracking for me. Like, I drove it the last time I was there from Simi Valley all the way to San Diego. Crazy.
So, well, the 405 actually ends like they're in
well, whatever it intersected.
It intersects on the 5, so it ends in Orange County, just past like a little bit farther down than
405 to the 5.
Yeah, 405 to the 5. The 5 takes you all the way down to San Diego.
Well, that's what I was on. That was
the
crazy.
5 takes you all the way up to Washington. So
yeah.
And if you know anything about the highway system here in the United States is that any 5 or any uneven or odd number, they run north and south. Anything even like the 10, the 40, the 90, they all run east to west or west to east, whichever way. So, and then if you see a like a 405, right, or 610, or the I think in the East Coast is the 690. Anything that has a third number in the front is actually a circle, meaning that it starts somewhere, it deviates, and it cuts back into the original one.
Wow.
I know, right? It's stupid facts that I'll never win Jeopardy with. Tell you. So, all right,
Love
favorite show.
geography. Yes.
Favorite show.
Favorite show. Oh my gosh. Do I have a time limit?
Yeah, it's supposed to be rapid fire question.
Gosh, I don't even know what my favorite show is. I don't watch a lot.
Comedy or drama?
Comedy.
Suspense or comedy?
Suspense.
All right. Favorite scary movie?
Favorite scary movie. Gosh, I can't think of any. Gosh, I know. I can't. Favorite scary.
Like It, original It, maybe.
Yeah, the It was scary. That was scary.
Or
I don't like.
What was the other one? The Exorcist?
No, I was just going to say, I do not like anything demonic.
Okay.
I saw Sinners recently. That was pretty scary.
All right. Favorite military movie?
Saving Private Ryan. I liked that.
I thought you were going to say something like Forrest Gump. It's not, but maybe Private Ryan is actually pretty good. It's probably one of the most realistic ones, especially the very first scenes. They were asking when that came out, the World War II veterans were about that age, right? About 80, 85, around there. So when that movie came out and they started seeing when they went into the beaches of Normandy, they said that a lot of the veterans actually walked out because they were reliving that so intensely. I mean,
Yeah,
I remember growing up. I think it was like 10, 14 maybe when it was that came out. I don't remember, but there was a scene that one of the soldiers was actually walking around and looking for something, and he was looking for his other arm. And this, he picks it up. He's like, "Oh, here it is," and then just walks away. I was like, it didn't register to me at that. It was like, then I was thinking about it, it's like, wait, he was looking for his arm. What the hell? Like all of a sudden, it just dawns on you, like you see it for it was just a quick minute or a second, and you didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, favorite.
Oh, hey, I remembered my favorite comedy, Nacho Libre. I love Jack Black.
So these are my stretchy pants. Yeah, that's funny. That's pretty. Actually, that was actually done, and it's a true story. It's a true story that of a wrestler.
A wrestler, yeah.
He
I
was
like Napoleon Dynamite too, by the way. So
yeah,
put out there.
God, Tina. Yeah. No, but in Nacho Libre, I was actually a Mexican wrestler who was actually a priest that had an orphanage, and so that's in order for him to actually feed the kids, he would have to go fight or do the wrestling in order for him to actually do that. So it's actually a true story. It's crazy that
that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Favorite Disney movie?
I like Aladdin.
Really? I thought you were gonna say something like.
I like what? Ethnic?
No, I was gonna. That was no. I thought you were gonna say like Snow White or like Sleeping Beauty or Ariel, whatever the Little Mermaid.
Oh, the Little Mermaid. Yeah, I like that too. I like them all.
All right. What is what is one regret that you have?
Oh, probably not talking to my dad more about his experiences. Literally sitting down and like asking him questions about, well, not just his experiences, but just about life. And my mom too, I did a little bit here and there, but like really, really getting to know them as a couple.
Is your mom still alive?
No, she passed away in 2019.
Oh, hope it wasn't COVID related.
No, it was not. She had dementia,
Oh, okay. So
Alzheimer's.
yeah, so thank you for reminding me. So June is actually Alzheimer's month, awareness
Mhm.
month. So thank you for that reminding me. And I
Yeah.
always forget to do that. What month it is? And yes, it is Alzheimer's awareness month. And I guess the reason why I forget is because I have on song. Is it? Anyway, that was a bad joke. That was a bad joke. I don't have the little drummers yet.
Yeah.
That'll come back soon. All right. What is the one thing on your bucket list that you feel you're going to be able to complete here soon?
Having a movie made on my dad's life story. On
Already
his,
done. Rambo. No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding.
That's on my bucket list to make sure that it happens.
Now, is there traction on that?
There's a little bit, yeah. So, right before my mother passed away, she did I guess negotiate the life rights to my dad's story.
So you own the rights now.
No, she sold the life rights to a production company. So they have about on the contract, I think it's a little over a year to get a movie made. So
And then if it doesn't happen, it comes back to you guys?
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who would you want to play your dad?
At one point, Michael Pena.
Yeah.
There's a new. I'd have to look him up. I can't remember his name. There's an actor who, gosh, and I feel bad that I don't know it. I think his first name is Hector, maybe. But he was in a movie recently that I saw, and he looks like the younger version of my dad. And I totally could see him playing my dad. Let me find it. Ask me another question.
Who would you like to play you?
Oh,
because I know you thought about it.
Well, true. But I was not born during my father's mission, the 6 hours in hell mission. So if I had a part, it wouldn't be a great part. It would just be me in the background going, Dad. So I have no idea. I don't even know who the up and coming actresses are, but it'd have to be somebody who looks like me with freckles. So
right. But it's gonna be hard to find Annie anywhere. So
yeah.
so all right. So I've already asked you that. Like, do you follow any sports at all?
Oh, absolutely.
Have
Don't
you seen the
hate, but
Astros? Have you seen the Astros? I swear to God, we're going to end this interview right now.
yeah, I've seen the Astros.
No, do you follow the Astros?
Yes, I follow the
Oh
Astros.
my God. That's it, people. Thank you so much for listening
Why?
to the podcast. Because I'm a Dodgers fan, and it still hurts. 2017 still hurts, and
sorry.
the fact that it's just okay. So this is my political sports talk, and
I thought you don't get on politics.
it's not politics; it's political sports. Big difference.
Political sports.
Yeah, exactly. So okay,
Anything politics. Anything.
So let's
political,
think
stay
about
away
this, right? So and this is just how hypocritical baseball can be. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really think about it until I started thinking about it. So you have several people that actually belong in the Hall of Fame, right? Someone like a Pete Rose, who just recently passed away, who is the all-time leader of hits, 4,256. And then he also is the only player to actually play at 5 different positions, 500 games or more, in third, second, first, left, and right field. 500 games or more that he played at. Only player in history to do that. That when he was a manager, he was betting on baseball, betting on his own team, right? He didn't cheat, but he was betting on the team. He wasn't betting like for them to lose. He was just betting on the team. And he was banned for life. Now,
Mhm.
when somebody throws it, basically throwing again, throwing the World Series in 1919, like the at that point were the Black Sox, known as the Black Sox, owned by Comiskey. And Shoeless Joe Jackson was not able to actually get into the Hall of Fame. He hit three during those 8-game series. He hit 375, 12 hits, and the pitcher I can't remember, lefty something, and another guy, they lost 3 of the games, and they were the ones that actually were throwing the series. And then and they were banned for life. And when somebody deliberately cheats, and admits to cheating, and even other teammates over there like, yeah, they were cheating, we were cheating, blah blah blah, and they give them immunity, that's complete BS. I don't believe in that, and that to me like
I
lost
agree.
credibility, and it just like that should not be.
No, I agree.
That's why I have a very hard time with that. It's because of the hypocrisy of not allowing, like a Barry Bonds, who's the all-time leader in home runs, be in the Hall of Fame, Pete Rose, and then you allow these clowns that admitted to cheating. Oh no, but my wife doesn't like it when I take off my shirt. Shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't. And so that's, as a sports fan, that makes me really, really upset. And that's why I'm like, that was my soapbox, and I'm off of it.
Okay. You got on another soapbox.
I did. I tell you, like it happens every time I do these questions. Like, start them out early when I'm like, oh, I have every intention of finishing them, and I never do. And first of all, let me just admit to you, and it'll be between you and my, and all my countries that we be heard on, is that I never ever have any questions. I don't necessarily prepare for it. I have a very good idea of where I want to go, but I allow the situation, allow the conversation to just flow naturally, because I feel like if I have like questions, like I'm hurrying you, like, okay, well, that's great, and let me ask you this, I just don't see the value.
You want it to flow. Yeah.
Well, I want somebody to actually like be engaged and having something like to talk about, rather than be like, yes,
next
we're having an event.
Off.
We're having an event at 7:00 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, where? Downtown. Yes, there will be food. It's like there's no.
No, I get it. Hey, I can I interject?
Yeah, please.
I have the name of the guy who I other than the one movie that I saw him in with Liam Neeson, I would want him to play, because he reminds me of my dad when I see him. His name is Harold Torres.
Harold Torres?
Yeah, look him up. He reminds me of my dad when I see him. Yes, no?
Well, I don't know. Let's decide.
Okay.
Let's decide, people. All right, here he is. Harold Torres.
Yeah. He reminds me of my young dad, when my dad was younger.
Okay, let's see.
So if anybody knows him,
yeah,
I think I could see him playing Roy P. Benavidez.
Well, let's see. What are you seeing right now? Okay, you're seeing that one. Okay. So, okay. Well, I can.
Yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down.
I can see it. Hold on. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's do this.
What you're
I was trying to bring it. I was trying to split the screen, but I'm not able to split the screen. So
that's okay.
I mean, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. A young Roy. Go back to my dad's young days.
Well, that's him at 14.
I don't see him.
Oh, wait. What do you mean not seeing him?
You're still on his military.
Oh, yeah.
Official picture.
I don't know. Oh, because it went to a different.
Anyway, that's my choice.
Yeah. Another great Texan, Audie Murphy.
Yes, my dad's hero.
Really?
Yeah, my dad, as a young boy, saw his movie To Hell and Back, and he was hooked.
That is okay. Can you see all these?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see if we can find a young one. A young stuff.
There's one
Okay, where?
on that row to the right. Third one
Right
from
here.
the right. Second row.
Right. Oh, right here.
Yeah. Well, down, go below. Right there.
This one?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, that one too.
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. I'll allow it. Look at
Yeah.
that. He's got a CIB. Oh my gosh, look at that. CIB parachute jumper. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep, I can see it. He was a first classer, sergeant first classer. So that's cool. Now, do you have? Are you still part of like the on his behalf, like part of like the Ranger Association?
Um, Not that I'm aware of. I mean, nobody's ever contacted me.
Somebody needs to.
No.
Somebody needs to.
Let's go. Come
I
on.
know, right? I'm telling you. All right. Well, I'll allow it. Actually, they are. Yep. I can see it. I can see the resemblance. Pretty good.
Oh yeah.
000 breakout star. So I don't know what that is. 000. I've never heard of it. Was created with oh, it's an Amazon limited series. 000. Oh, I've seen this movie.
One of your listeners out there, I'm sure,
Yes.
knows him.
Yep, I'm sure.
Needs to put a bug in his ear.
I have a guy. I'll put him out there and be like, hey, do you know this guy? Or have you heard of this guy? Or can you get in touch with his agent?
Yeah.
I'd be good. All right. Yep. Got it. And it's on my to-do list now. So it's on. It's on my Donkey Kong. So speaking of which, we've been talking about how much of an advocate you've been, and are you a supporter of other organizations that give back to veterans?
Well, I do support any and all, and if I'm asked to do a podcast and or participate in an event, I surely will. Officially, and I'm not a part of any organizations that are linked
Yet.
right?
Yet.
And I'm always open to that for sure.
Well, congratulations! I am nominating you for one, and it's called People for a New America. They have a sort of a segment or a section of that. People for a New America is basically a bunch of artists, recording artists, actors that actually give their time back, and they are always putting veterans needs, and they have a section called Veterans in Need. The Veterans in Needs initiative actually held a telethon on June 7th that I was part of. I was actually doing all the interviews for them. For the family members, I had Doc Ballard. He was one of my guests. He came on. I also had the commander in chief from the VFW, Al the Real Deal Liphart. He came on. He actually came all the way out here to see me to my studio. He changed his entire schedule, and we did the interview. And he was actually endorsing the vets in need. Now, what this organization does is that they fundraise throughout the year, and they have several telethons and music festivals in order for them to actually raise even more money so I can actually do that. What they do with that money is that they give it back to veterans, homeless veterans, veterans in need, like mental health. They also put them in like in different programs, training programs, and things like that. One of the biggest things that they also do is that they give them these gift cards, and the gift cards are like $50, $100 depending on what where, to like Albertsons or somewhere they can actually go eat and things of that nature. Right. So they're doing really, really good things. So that would be a very, very good one for you to be in, because it's a national one. And I will put you in touch with a very, very good friend of mine. His name is Richie Onari. who is also. Did you ever watch the movie Wayne's World?
Yes.
Do you remember that song that Tia Carrere was playing, Ballroom Blitz? Well, Richie was in the original band that actually wrote that song.
Okay.
It's called The Suite, and he's a very good friend of mine, and he's been on the show several times, and he is the founder and the CEO of that organization.
Okay.
And
Great.
so I'll put you in touch with him.
It's all about networking for
Exactly.
sure. Thank you.
And the fact of the matter is that they're giving back. He's not, his dad was a veteran, but they're giving back to the veteran community. Not only
Right.
that, but they're also giving back to the families, which is important as well. And everybody always forgets the family, right? And
Right.
probably the most important things are the kids, the veterans.
Right. And that's so ironic that you say that, because I just participated in a Medal of Honor in Gainesville, near Dallas.
You were there?
The host city, yes.
I was there.
Really?
I was, yes. Okay. So I live in Sherman, which is about 30 minutes from Gainesville, to the east. But I actually, my American Legion Riders group actually went and escorted the bus all the way from DFW all the way to Gainesville. And so I was there during that whole time, and it's super awesome. And now it's different. It's different because earlier we were talking about the National Museum of the Medal of Honor, which is in Arlington.
Right.
And there are other museums called the host city Medal of Honor museums, which is usually, I think there's only a few, right?
There's only a few. And the one in Gainesville does not showcase my father, because my father never visited Gainesville. And so to my understanding, they only showcase the recipients who actually went to Gainesville. But they do have a tree planted in his honor and his memory. And so anyway, they invited me and my husband, and we went, and it was an amazing celebration that we were able to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And they're one of the people who obviously give back to our veterans. And why did I bring this up? What was the irony?
You said ironically, I brought up the families and the kids.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. And
it's all for the kids.
And ironically, a lot of descendants of Medal of Honor recipients attend that, and we call ourselves the descendants. And we are the children of the Medal of Honor recipients, and
Don't say that too loud, because the copyrights are gonna be like the descendants. Jeez.
Yeah, that was kind of our theme the whole week. Was a lot of people forget about the families and the children of the Medal of Honor recipients, especially after they've passed. And so I think the irony is that that's our job, is to help to keep the legacy going. And don't forget about our family, our parent, our father, but don't forget about us either.
Right. So let me ask you like a couple more of the rapid fire quizzes. I think those are the ones that we're actually doing. So if you had a choice of actually fixing my mic, would you do that? If you had a choice of actually running an organization or nonprofit or a for-profit, probably a nonprofit that would highlight something, what would be your mission?
To carry on the legacies of those who have passed on. We did have a foundation on my father, and it kind of fizzled. I'd like to start that up again. Maybe after I retire, when I have more time. Seems like time is what I'm fighting against. I'm so busy. But I think my mission would be to help veterans and to help the families of the veterans, because they are forgotten, and to help them in some form or fashion to carry on the legacy of their loved one, because that seems to be things that get pushed under the rug, is the legacies of our heroes.
Speaking of legacies, I forgot to ask you about your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
The TVC podcast. What is that about?
Did you hear it? Did you get to see it?
I did not yet. I did find it. I did not have enough time because I did not have enough time to actually listen to it. I'm probably going to listen to it on my way to work tomorrow. But what is it about? What is your main theme of the
What is my what?
Your main theme of your podcast? Like what is like my podcast is veteran centric, right? Anything has to do with veteran rights, families, advocates, different organizations, highlighting different organizations.
Oh, I was just a guest on their podcast.
Like, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's not my podcast. Although that would be fun to have my own podcast and to interview people.
What if I told you that I might have an opportunity for you?
Ooh, that'd be awesome.
And what if I told you that?
What is it? Tell me more. Well,
I tell you what. We are now 1 hour and 59 minutes, and our show is coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just kidding. I can tell you the opportunity is that
we can stay on. There's no time.
Hey, I'm game. I've honestly I've had
3 hours later.
I have. You know what? So one of our other shows on our network, on Voice of the People Radio and TV network, Political Shock, hosted by my good friend Dan Spiriglio. And his wife, Hollis, does what they call Aftershock, which is after his show. They have done, I kid you not, they have done 6 hours. Yeah, they have done 6 hours, and
we're still going. Yeah.
So
my family calls me a machine. I never stop. I'm a beast. So let's go.
So a good friend of mine, Jason Caruso, who is also the Department of Texas VFW IT director, he says he's watching live from the VFW member training. Love your message, brother. Cliffhanger.
Hey, Jason.
So we're gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna talk about any more about the podcast, but I do have an opportunity for you. No, I'm just kidding. I am going to talk about it.
Wait, you're just kidding, or don't kid with me?
If you're willing to talk about it for the next hour or however long it takes us, I will be willing to talk to you about this. But we do have to take a quick break before we actually go on to our next hour.
Okay.
So, all right. So with that, you are listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast here with my co-host, Yvette Benavidez Garcia.
Go get you a drink and join us.
That's right. Go get you a drink, maybe a little drink, a little whiskey, a little something. And you're listening to
Jack and Coke.
Yeah, do it. Jack and Coke, do it. It's rum and Coke. Anyways, but you are listening to the Battle Rhythm Podcast here on Voice of the People Radio and TV Network, also on BUC Digital and on Patriot Radio. And thank you to all of our listeners out there in the entire nation of the U.S., Canada, Dubai, and I forgot to mention the other one, Philippines. The Philippines is my third highest. Was it?
Yeah.
The Philippines is my third highest, and then Dubai, and then followed by Brazil. Brazil is it's bringing up the not the least is just by a little bit. They're still short, but we are going to be bringing those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, and so we're going to bring them up. But when we come back, we are going to be talking to Yvette and about her good opportunity that's going to be coming up here soon. So with that said, please stay back and enjoy these commercials.
I think I messed up. I thought all Harley shops were the same until I walked into Texoma Harley Davidson. Trust me, this place is next level. Picture this, a place where riders are family and the open road is always calling. Texoma Harley Davidson, right here in Sherman, is run by Kenny and his crew. Real riders who actually get what the ride means to you. From custom bikes and killer gear to award-winning service that's earned them the Harley Davidson Gold Award, this shop is as legit as it gets. They're not just selling motorcycles, they're building a community where you belong, whether you're a veteran, a weekend warrior, or just bike curious. And here's the insider move, swing by. Mention you heard about them on the Battle Rhythm Podcast, and experience true hometown hospitality with a big-time selection. It's your next ride, your new crew, and your ticket to freedom, all in one stop. Texoma Harley Davidson, go beyond the ordinary. Let's ride.
When it comes to your home, don't settle for good enough. Choose the crew who lives by integrity and excellence. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, EGA Construction is a veteran-owned and operated company, meaning discipline, dedication, and honesty aren't just buzzwords, they're our way of life. With over 25 years of experience, we take pride in delivering on time and on budget every single time. From stunning remodels to steel buildings to tenant finish-outs, EGA is your one-stop shop for all things construction. Because you deserve a partner who listens, communicates, and stands by their word. We're not just building spaces, we're building trust. Our team's military background means sharp attention to detail, transparent process, and a relentless commitment to your satisfaction. And as proud sponsors of the Battle Rhythm podcast, we keep our ties strong with the veteran community. Because service doesn't stop with us, it continues in everything we do. Ready to work with a team that treats your home like their own? Choose EGA Construction, where precision meets passion. Why do 90% of regulars say the Black Sheep Lounge just feels different? Is it the hand-picked cigars, the signature cocktails, or the warm, welcoming crowd? Let's find out what makes this place a true Denison gem. At the Black Sheep Lounge, we believe in celebrating the finer things without the fuss. Our walk-in humidor is stocked with premium cigars for every palate, from those discovering their first smoke to lifelong aficionados. But we're more than cigars. Our bartenders craft old fashions the old-fashioned way, rich, smooth, and perfectly balanced every time. What really sets us apart? It's the atmosphere. Picture low lights, plush chairs, and a community that welcomes newcomers and regulars alike. Whether you're looking to unwind after work, catch up with friends, or just enjoy a quiet moment, you'll find your spot here. So, swing by 127 West Main Street and see why the Black Sheep Lounge is downtown Denison's unique hideaway. Pull up a chair, light up, and raise a glass with us. You belong here.
Welcome back to the Battle Rhythm podcast. I am here joined by my co-host for the third hour, Yvette Benavidez Garcia, who is the daughter of Master Sergeant Roy Benavidez. And I forgot to ask you this. Obviously, the name Benavidez is actually very well known in the Army community. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there is a building named after your dad, right?
A building?
Yeah.
There is
A barracks, I think.
There's an armory, Texas National Guard Armory here in El Campo, right on the outskirts.
I knew there was
There
something.
is a U.S. naval ship named the USNS Benavidez. It is decommissioned, but it is named after him. He has a G.I. Joe action figure.
What?
Yeah,
No way.
absolutely.
I gotta find it. Wait.
Mattel made 50,000 of them, and they're no longer in circulation. However, if you are very lucky, you might be able to find one on eBay. So yeah, those are a hot commodity. So if you find one, save it.
Yeah, because they are, especially for like the GI Joes. Okay,
Yes.
now that's gonna be my life's mission to find one. I'm gonna call Chum Lee because he has a toy store. Chum Lee from Pawn Stars.
Oh, really? Ask him. One of my friends, Crystal Romero, just texted me actually yesterday or the day before that a friend of hers gave her one, and she's just on cloud nine. I said, girl, so I was like, girl, do not let that out of your sight.
Is it still in the box? Is it still intact?
Ours, yes.
Oh
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I have one that I took out that I kind of take every once in a while when I go and speak to school kids. I'll take it to show. But the others I have tucked away in their box still.
So what does your husband think about like doing those type of events? And like you're like, oh God, not another one.
Oh no, absolutely not. He's so supportive. He is such a huge fan and advocate of my dad and everything Roy Benavidez that he's willing, ready, and able to travel with me whenever I go places.
So I keep saying or hinting at the fact that there could be something here as far as like a podcast. Like, no, look, anybody can do a podcast. I mean, look at me. I have the face of for radio. And thank God that all my listeners right now in Canada and the Philippines, Brazil, and Dubai are only hearing me. and not looking at me because I mean it's just like, they'd be like, "Ah," it's like he looks like Chewie, not like Chewie like my primo, but Chewie like the Chewbacca. Anyway, I keep hinting at this whole thing about doing a podcast, and to me, like, and the reason why I started this podcast, it was two main reasons, really. The first one was actually started out as an informational channel where I was going to do my post. I was going to do things that were happening in the community, what's happening this weekend, and like, hey, this weekend we have steak night at, actually, as a matter of fact, it is steak night on this Friday for the VFW steak night, and then it started out like that, and then I also started doing like historical things. Like there was one I did for Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and then there was another one I think that I did. Shoot, I want to say it wasn't the USS Maine. It was anyway. It was it was a historical thing that we have to present for the VFW, and it started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I started out. And then they're like, hey, why don't you interview this person? And my first interviews, yeah, they were not as fluid as it is now. And you think this is easy. It was like, it's not. It honestly, I've gotten better with time. And, the more and more you do it, obviously, the better you get. And the first ones were like brutal because, again, you have to have a very engaged guest. And a lot of times, like, like I felt like it was like pulling teeth sometimes. I was like, hey, so I would ask them. I was like, hey, so I'm vivid. I try to be engaging and try to be somewhat. I don't want to say charismatic because I really think I don't think that's a word. I think it's more like animated, right? You have to be very animated about doing it, right? Charisma, a little bit different. Yeah, do I have charisma? Probably not. Not at all. At least that's what my wife says anyway. So plus other things. I don't remember what she said because she said I think I don't listen and something else. But anyway, that's not the point. But it started out that way, and then the more and more I started doing it, like the easier it got for me to do these questions, or to ask questions. And again, like, do I prepare? Yes, I prepare to a point where I know I know enough about the subject or the person I'm interviewing, so I don't look like this. The person that just like, oh, I'm in front of a mic and let me just talk about. I've had shows like that. I call them Seinfeld shows because they have no plot. There's nothing behind it. I'm like, oh, like we're talking about everything and anything at that point. And right now I think like obviously we started out with a book and we went through a bunch of different books, and then I go on my tangents, and
I like the fact that it's live, first of all, but literally the last two podcasts that I did, and I'm not mentioning any names, but I laugh about it because two different podcasts, and both times they forgot to hit record. So we were talking for like 2 hours, and then at the very end, they're like, I forgot to record. I'm like, no. And like I said, not only did it happen once, but then it happened a completely different podcast, different person. He didn't even know that had already happened, and it happened to them too.
So people ask me, oh, is this recorded? I'm like, nope, it's live. And what time is it? It's 8:00 on Tuesday. They're like, why do you do it on Tuesdays? Like, look, I said Mondays I have APA pool league. I'm not doing it. Wednesdays I have either church or we have and also we have the Hispanic. Remember I was telling you about the Hispanic heritage. I have it on Wednesday, like the fourth Wednesday of the month.
It's always something.
Right. And then Thursdays, right now we have the city of Sherman has the free concert series, which is called Hot Summer Nights. It's for 2 months in the summer. I'm not doing anything on Thursdays. Before it was like I had pool league on Thursdays, which was 9-ball. And then Fridays, I'm like, I really don't want to do a podcast on a Friday. It's a Friday night, and then Saturdays are like, oh, we're doing karaoke on Saturday. No, we're not doing a podcast. Like, do I want to do it during the day? Like, hell no. It's like doing a podcast during the day on a Saturday or a Sunday. It's like you're doing the lawn. Like, no, I'm not doing it. So it literally came down to
Tuesdays with Caesar.
Tuesdays or Mondays or Tuesdays. Like I could have done Mondays, but then and then I couldn't play, and then the Tuesday. So I was like, no, maybe I'll switch it. I don't know. I'm still thinking about what it is, but if you're thinking, and you're seriously thinking about doing something like this, it doesn't have to be 2 hours. The reason why I like 2 hours is because when you only have like a 30-minute podcast, you really can't go in depth as to asking a guest like you, right? The conversation won't be as it'll be
it goes
kind of
by
like,
too fast, and before you know it, it's over.
Exactly. And then if you throw in the commercials or you throw in this or you're on
Yeah.
tangents, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
So, and the fact that I am not, I don't have any other shows before me and or after me. I am the person. I am it for today. So our my time slide, it's fine. Like I could do whatever. Yeah, it's my time slide. Nobody else's. Go find your own time slot. So and then plus, if I wanted to change it to Thursday, I can't because our flagship show, Politishock, is actually also starts at 9 o'clock Eastern, and so that one runs for 6 hours. So I don't want to do it earlier than 6. And I just want to be hurried. I don't want to be hurried. I just don't like I like to take my time in doing things like that. And when you have engaging guests, and it makes a difference. But okay, so if you're going to do a podcast, you really have to think about what you're going to do, or like what you're going to talk about, right? So for me, I was able to actually take my military experience and my being a veteran and everything, and kind of find a niche for it, right? So started reaching out to different organizations that were helping out veterans, that were veteran ran, they're business owners that were owned by veterans, and started highlighting those, and that's how it started. Then it got to like, hey, I got this person. You want to talk to him? Like, oh yeah. And it just kind of snowballed after that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's good. And the reason I find I have been somewhat successful thus far is because I honestly do try to have a topic that is that a lot of people will actually suffer. You're gonna always have these political shows, and I'm not saying that it's bad or it's good. I'm saying that political shows are for a lack of a better term, a dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
So you have the Candace Owens, you have the Ben Shapiro's, you have your Hannity's and all those other ones, and that's what they do. That's theirs. I
would not do anything political.
Exactly. Am I educated enough to hold my? Yeah, I am, but I'm not going to do it on here. You know what I mean? Like it's not what I do. This is not what I like. It wouldn't be fun to me.
I
so
get
you
that.
have to do that. So that's something you have to do. Now, if you find a co-host that is willing to actually, put up with your nonsense, you can bounce off one another, just like you and I have today. It's been a very good conversation, but it also has one of the two has to have the control of the mic and have control of the fluidity of the show, which neither of us did. So
I think I'll start off slow, and if anybody wants me to be a guest co-host, I'm your girl.
Well, there you go. So you this is not the first or the last time you're going to be on the show, and I'll tell you that right now. And maybe at some point I will be like, you know what? I am not doing my show today. Yvette is going to be doing the show.
I'm vacationing in Hawaii.
Hey, that's the great thing about having a virtual studio, that you can actually do it anywhere in the world.
That's right.
And as long as you are at the right time slot, you're fine. If you're in Hawaii right now, it's 10 o'clock, so it's 5 hours, so it'll be 5 o'clock. Yeah, 5 hours, because it's 3 to the West Coast and then 3 more to the East Coast. So it's 5 o'clock. So
5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right. And then that's how it starts. But the reason I'm saying it's like I actually may have the perfect opportunity. It's actually something we're actually starting. So Voice of the People, Radio and TV Network is actually looking for podcasters, is looking for good content creators. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the reason I'm mentioning this to you is because I believe that you have a very particular niche of what you're doing as far as your content creation, right? I have a channel for military and veterans. There's actually underneath that channel, there's plenty. I can have as many podcasts as I want onto there.
Mm-hmm.
So, meaning that we could always start a channel or a podcast dedicated to Medal of Honor recipients and families and their families.
Yeah, the
And so,
descendants.
you call it the Descendant channel.
The descendants.
Right? The Descendant channel. So
Yeah.
you call it that, and then you could highlight, and if you can find many other descendants, family members, or even obviously, I'm pretty sure you have a vast network of other people that actually have that are daughters, sons, and whatever of Medal of Honor recipients that you can actually highlight on that show, and that would be a good thing. And you could go ask for their experiences. And, hey, how was this and how was that?
Yeah, because we all have different experiences.
Exactly, because I mean, look, you got to meet Ronnie, President Reagan, and then Doc met. Who gave it to Doc? I think was it Nixon that gave it to Doc? God, that's gonna bother me. I think it was Nixon that gave it to Doc
Mm-hmm.
in the 70s, and then we just had the latest one that was given to him was the Marine sergeant that came back after 10 years of being out, went back into the Marine Reserves, and actually is doing the service again. So he just came back. Matter of fact, I reached out to him about the same time I reached out to you, and he actually responded. He says, "Yeah, I would be more than happy to come on, but right now he is he's not able to come because he's doing his military duties. So once he's done and he comes back, then he's going to come back in October. So
well, there you go. Good for you.
Exactly. So he's going to be on dash strategy. So it is
Got any more questions?
Yeah, I got plenty of questions.
Let's go.
Well, hold on. Hi.
I'm not rushing you at all.
I'm just trying. I'm trying to pull up the information here about Sergeant. His first name is Dakota, and it's not Dash. Dakota Meyer. Sergeant Dakota Meyer. That's his name. He's the most recent recipient of the Medal of Honor. So he was awarded, and it's anyway. It's cool. So he's gonna come back.
That is cool.
He's this is what I get, the email I got. It said, "Hi Caesar, Dakota is currently fulfilling his military obligations as he enlisted into the Marines. He would be interested but will not be able to until next fall. Would you be able to reach back out in October and we could potentially set this up?" So his chief of staff for the strategies person that he's with. So yeah, so that was cool. The fact that they were actually able to respond, and that again is just a matter of things. And do I go through TikTok and stalk people? No, I don't stalk people. It just comes on my feed, right, on my FYP. The one dude that I really want to bring out, and I don't know if you've seen him, but he did a really, really good job on your dad, was the fat electrician.
Yeah, I have. That was good. Very good.
He's hilarious. The whole thing he did, it was so perfect. I was like, dude, like I reached out to him, he never got back to me. I was like,
I get tagged so many times on that, and yeah, he did a great job.
Has he reached out to you?
No.
Well, maybe we need to reach out to him.
Yeah.
And be like, look, dude, let's
talk.
He has his own podcast, I think.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And I think he has it with a couple of other guys, but you definitely do that. But yeah, so anyway, that's the opportunity I have for you. You definitely can start your own podcast, and you more than willing, we'll be more than happy to help you start that here with the Voice of the People Radio and TV Network. So with that said, I also want to point out that if anybody out there thinks that they have what it takes to become a podcaster and or a radio DJ or whatever, here is our email. Contact us at vopusaradio.com. Once again, that email address is contact us at vopusaradio.com. So if you're looking or you feel like you've been making some content and you want your own podcast, send us an email. We will get back to you. We'll talk to you. It will probably be either me or Dan Smeriglio or Hollis Smeriglio, who will probably be talking to you in regards to why it is it's important for you to actually start a podcast and why you want to do it. So great opportunity. Our new platform is actually going on right now where we are testing out that whole thing. So yeah. So all right, ready for more questions? We can start a different segment. All right, let's start. You know what? Let's do a different segment. I'm going to give this segment, and I don't often do this one, but this segment is called Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And if you're in military jargon, you know exactly what that means.
Oh, no.
Yes. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And it's brought to you by Scott's Construction. So thank you, Scott, for being a faithful sponsor of the Battle Rhythm podcast here on Voice of the People U.S.A. Radio and TV Network. So our Whiskey Tango Foxtrot of the week. What do you think that is?
Whiskey Tango
Foxtrot moment of the week. You know what that stands for, right?
Does it mean
what the French toast?
What the
French toast? Yeah.
Yeah.
The F? Yeah. What the French toast? Exactly. Yeah. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. That's exactly what it stands for. All right. Do you have any idea what our Whiskey Tango Foxtrot of the week is?
No.
Okay. Well, I do. So I'm going to tell you. The Whiskey Tango Foxtrot moment of the week is the loss of the U.S. national team against Mexico in Houston for the Gold Cup, the CONCACAF Gold Cup. So that's not the moment. The moment is the fact that they were very, very the U.S. men's national team was very criticized, where some of their players kind of refused to come play because they were saying they were being overplayed, overworked, and amongst other things. That was their excuse for not being able to come. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're chosen or you are nominated to go play for your national team, regardless of what it is, you say you played softball and you had the opportunity to represent your country in a sport, Olympics, whatever it is, in a national or international stage, would you, if there's no injury that you had present or anything, would you say, you know what? No, I don't want to go because I'm so tired. I need a vacation, whatever.
Yeah.
That is my Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Anytime a country calls you, and I think this is where the servitude part of it, part of me comes out, where it's like
any capacity
exactly,
you show up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that to me is it's like a slap in the face to like the veteran community, people like your dad, people like Doc, where they sacrificed so much and he saw so many people not come back. And what your dad always often said, that he wasn't the hero, it was the people that never came back.
Right.
Were the heroes, right? Now now that your dad's not here with us, your dad is a hero. So I'm gonna leave it at that. That's not the Whiskey. That's not the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Yeah. That's not the. But it is the fact that people refuse to represent their country when they're most needed. That is my biggest thing. Yeah. And that's like the Peter Griffin thing. Is like, you know what grinds my gears? That one. So that's the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot moment.
Okay, that's I agree. That is
okay.
what.
Yeah, so exactly. So, the other thing too is that I'm able to drop any F-bomb I want at any time, any point in time. Do I choose to? No, I try to keep it because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to break into other places, meaning other networks, right?
Yeah.
Right now I'm in talks with wreaths across America for my show to perhaps be on their network as well. There's another network that I want to bring in as well. It's called the Veterans Radio that I'm trying to get with, and they've been around for the last 20 years. So that's another thing. I'm gonna take note. That's another thing I really try to not do. Like I don't try to. I make it make it a point not to curse as much.
Right.
Because
Right.
you definitely want to be picked up and be professional about it.
Oh yeah,
Well,
and my
professional.
dad was a proponent of that as well, and he did not like it when he was co-authoring 3 books that he did, and of course publishers, and authors want to put bad language in there, and he was a huge advocate of trying to get his books published without the use of bad language, but of course they
Was he
never listened
successful
to
with that?
him. Huh? No, he was not.
Mm.
They did not listen to him and said, this is what sells. And so I've tried to push that forward in the movie that's, hopefully going to be made. That was one of my comments when I got to read the script was, can we produce a movie without having foul language? And
It seems like the only place to do that would be like something like the Kirk Cameron series,
the Angel Network or something.
Exactly, yeah, something like that.
But it is what it is, and I think we're all adults anyway. So
yeah, it is. But sometimes, okay, so hear me out. When it's quoted, and I get what your dad was trying to do, where he's trying to have this.
Well, he in particular, just excuse me, he knew that children were going to be reading those books, and he didn't want children to be exposed to that type of language. And he wanted to replace the language with something that was so more appropriate. So.
But yeah, no, I get it. All right, so what I'm willing to propose to you is that we do several shows, and then we can start a podcast for you, where you would be highlighting and interviewing other people, and I'll be right there with you 100% of the time to make sure that you get yourself situated in that thing. I mean, is that something you'd be willing to explore?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So,
I'm always game for stuff like that.
All right. Well, that's good because my network is it's not vast, but it's very selective as to they always say that you try to surround yourself with people in the same mindset, right? And that's what I try to do. The fact that I surround myself with people that have a servant attitude in the way that they're advocates, and me having this mic in front of me, I feel like I am an advocate. I bring issues to the table that perhaps not a lot of people have the opportunity to do, right? And one of my biggest things that I always tell people in my show is that you're no good to society if you don't get involved in your local politics or your local city or whatever, right? You're no good to anybody because you're very good. You could be very, very good at complaining. Is like, oh, this could be ran this way. Now what it? If you want change, get involved.
You got to be the one to make the change. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Because if you're not there advocating for those people that feel the same way about you, and you're basically just pretty much bitching at anybody that will listen to you, but you're not doing anything about it, you're the problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Sorry, I blacked out. What did I say?
Got to be the one to make the change.
Oh, yeah. You got to make the change. Yeah. Make the change. And I'm not talking about, make the change from, 2010. I'm saying make the change within yourself. And actually, like I said, get involved in your different commissions. If you don't like the way that the city's growing. Get involved in a planning and zoning commission, because
Right.
you'll be able to actually be like, say, you know what, I don't think this parking lot would be good here and next to a fire station. I don't think it would
Right.
be, do this, or you're able to get involved in certain things like that.
Right. Right.
So, and then if you're gonna make a change for the better. Don't sit there and criticize people for doing it this way. If you didn't like how you're doing, then run against them.
Right.
Sorry, tangents. I tell you, God, they kill me. I'm surprised I
Squirrel.
still have people. I'm surprised I still have people listening to me right now. Which I think the people from our nation, the U.S., Canada, and also the Philippines, Dubai, and Brazil. But if anybody else is listening out there and they want to check in, please come out to our socials. We are still live right now. It is 10:37, and Yvette's still here, and she's not very saying very much right now. And I don't know if it's because I'm just rambling on, or if it's because she's just tired of listening to me, and she's like,
No, ask me a question. Does anybody have a question out there?
Yeah, well, people have been, for some reason, been really quiet today, asking questions. But I keep asking you questions. I mean, we could play another round of rapid fire questions, or unless you want to ask me questions, and I can answer those. How's that? Yeah, co-host. So you want to get into this game? Let's go.
Did you ever get to meet my father?
Did not. I actually graduated from high school in 1996, and I did not join the military until 2000. So I was actually right before 9/11.
So when you joined the military, what branch?
I did my active duty time in Navy. So I was actually Navy before I went Army. So I was actually Army after I came back after I got out of active duty. I went to school. And then, which is the whole reason why I actually ended up going to the military, because my parents could not afford to send me to school, and or I didn't want to take on a lot of the student loans.
Right.
And plus, at that time, I was not in this country legally during that time, so that was another reason too. My father became a citizen in the U.S. in '96, which is the year I graduated. I did not get my my residency, my temporary residency, until '97. So I couldn't even join right out of high school. So it really didn't matter. And then when 9/11 happened in 2003, President Bush did an executive order that if anybody has been serving in the military for 6 months, in 6 months, they were able to get their citizenship. Well, I had met the criteria before, because remember, 97 to 2003 was already 5 years. So you have to have a temporary and permanent residency for 5 years before you can actually apply for your citizenship. Well, in 2003, I did apply, and I was granted the citizenship, and I actually did my interview in San Diego when I was still in active duty. So I went to my whites. I was in my whites and my Navy whites, and I ended up going to at that point it was still the U.S. Immigration and Customs, U.S. Immigration Office. It wasn't ICE yet; it was U.S. Immigration, and went in, and the officer was like, he's like, "Well, I'm going to ask you the questions." And, they have to ask you out of 100 questions, they ask you like 10 questions or whatever. And the questions was like, "Okay, well, can you name 3 of the original 13 state or colonies?" I said, "Okay." So I named them off, and he's like, "I'm like, you want them all of them?" She's like, "No, I just need 3." And then the third question was, mind you, I was in full uniform. He says, "Do you have any reservations on bearing arms for the United States?" And I kid you not, I went like this. I grabbed my uniform. I looked at my ribbons and everything. The 3 ribbons I had. I was like, "Yes, sir. I have a lot of reservations." And he starts laughing, right? Because I'm in uniform. He's like, "I'm in good spirits today," and that actually made me laugh. He's like, "I'm pretty sure you're not gonna have any problems because you're already in the military." I was like, "No, sir, I do not. I'm sorry, I joked, and I know this is an official meeting or interview." He said, "You know what?" He's like, "I'd rather have people like you that actually have a very good sense of humor. The fact that they're still defending our country."
Yeah, he goes,
And yeah, he's like, "Yeah, congratulations, you're a U.S. citizen." I'm like, "Ah, yay!" And it was funny because then we did about a week later or 2 weeks later, we did the ceremony, and it was there at the San Diego Convention Center. And they had put all of the military that were serving and were getting their citizenship, and it was I kid you not, it was like about 200 of us that were there, right? And I was in that first or second row, and next to me, or two people down, was a Marine that was next to me, and we were just talking about, hey, dude, he had just came back from Afghanistan. It was like in 2001 or Iraq, which one? I don't remember which one it was. I think it was Afghanistan. And we were talking, and it was like, yeah, dude, he's like my buddy. He's like, I don't know how the conversation came up. He's like, yeah, my buddy got hurt. Oh yeah, because I was like, hey, are you okay? You got hurt? He's like, nah, man, I'm good. Like my buddy did get hurt. I was like, yeah, what happened to him? Did he fall down? Or is he okay? He's like, no, he's good. He's like, he took some shrapnel. I'm like, he took some shrapnel. Like, is he okay? Like, he's like, yeah, dude, he's like halfway joking, halfway laughing, halfway like felt bad for him. He's like, yeah, dude, he took some shrapnel to his nuts. I was like, oh my gosh, that sucks. I was like, is he okay? He's no, he's half the man he used to be. I was like, that is not even right, dude. It's like it was like we have that
military humor.
Yeah, it's so dark, but it's funny, and people are like, people don't get it. Like, oh my god, you guys are crude, like brute, right? Like that was pretty damn funny, actually. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the way that we cope with a lot of things, and
for sure,
and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that was funny. But yeah, all right. Did I answer your question in like 3 hours later?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, go on. I got more answers for you.
Well, no, I had always heard a lot of people make this comment, but nobody has produced the book yet. But I get a lot of comments from people who are in the military that there is a book that I guess right when they join that these military men and women get, and they like learn about my dad, from the get-go. And so I don't know what the name of this book is, if it's a pamphlet, if it's a I have no idea, but I get that a lot, and I'd actually like to see it,
So let me ask you this though, because every branch has their hero, right? So I didn't go to Army boot camp. I went to a transition period. So okay, I went to Navy boot camp. So I don't know if the Army boot camp they would actually give them this. So the
Navy didn't, huh?
No, so the Navy has its own traditions, right? I mean, think about this, right? You have all these carriers or all these, Arleigh Burke and the different types of ships. They are named after people.
Yeah.
Right. So I was on a Nimitz class carrier because Admiral Nimitz was big into into expanding the naval aviation and the carriers. So they named a whole series of ships after him. And now they have the Ford, or was it Ford? Yeah, I think it's the Ford class after Gerald Ford style of carrier. So different ways that they build them. So anything in the Nimitz class carrier is literally the same layout as obviously like the the internal layouts as far as like who's where and what and like what units here, that's different, but the same layout is the same. It's the same every Nimitz class. Same thing with the Arleigh Burkes, they're all the same. Same,
well, maybe one of your listeners, if they know, they can
I will ask some of my army we sometimes we call them Army pukes to help out there. So but yeah, everything is different. Everybody's different, and when they go through the rite of passage, the initiations, and all that stuff, they will call them in the Navy. They call them battle stations, and they do everything they've trained for. They do at the very last segment of training, and then
I just kind of figured because a naval ship is named after my dad, so I thought maybe they talked about him.
Well, see, so that's the thing. So a military ship is a USS. Right, United States ships, ship, and then the USNS is United States naval ship, which is on the civilian side of the
right.
Of the plane.
And that's what his was, the USNS Benavidez.
Right. So USNS, I believe, and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure the only two actual military vessels that are USNS that are actually manned by um, corpsmen. Is the USNS Mercy, which is the hospital, and then there's I can't remember the name of the other one. It's the USNS something else, but I believe those are the only two military ships that are not USS, which are military ran, which is the
Right.
hospitals. But everything else is a USS. So anything military is USS. It's same thing with the USNS is the civilian side of it. So they're called merchant marines.
Okay.
Merchant marines. That's who means them. They're not military, but they're like paramilitary type of thing, I guess. Anyway, yeah. So, but I will ask.
All right.
I will.
Got any more?
I always have more. I mean,
What would you like to know?
Well, let's dive deep in the well here. What is the one thing that it's not a regret? And I don't want to get too mushy or like because I don't know how you would take it. If you were granted the opportunity, okay, hold on, let me preface this. You've seen these Facebook posts or TikTok posts where you just have a picture, right? And you have 4 people that are there and say you can bring one back, right? Let's take those out. If you could bring back your dad today, what would be the one thing that you would ask him?
Well, I would know the answer, but I would want to hear it. Are you proud of me and my brother and sister with what we're doing with regards to your legacy? Do you see what we're doing? I know the answer, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, it's a astounding no. I know.
Hell no.
Yeah. If he was that mean Mexican, that Tango Mike Mike, he'd be like, hell no, it's not. You're doing this wrong. Right? Yeah. Or he could be like, I told dad, be like, mija. No. That type of thing. No. So all right. So what would be the name of your organization if you could start it today?
I really like using his call sign, the Tango Mike Mike Foundation.
Now, is that a registered name now? Is that a registered trademark?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Well, there it goes. I can't use that shit. Well, all right, never mind.
Yeah.
Well, I could actually name it the Maniac Mexican because I am. I mean,
yeah.
Which is just a derivative of it. So all right, let's switch a little bit of gears here. We talked about adult beverages earlier. What would be the one that you go to?
My go-to drink of choice are pina coladas or strawberry daiquiris.
Oh my god, are you telling me right now that
I'm a rum girl?
Your favorite song is that? Do you like pina colada?
Yeah.
Oh god, jeez. Here we go. You know how the whole song was about, right?
Yes.
When people were here, like, what? Yeah,
kind of sad.
Listen to it. Like the dude was unhappy in his marriage, and
he put an ad in the paper.
And his wife answered.
Find somebody. Yeah, it's so sad.
It's like, oh, that sounds like some Jerry Springer shit.
I know, a Murphy moment.
I know. Okay, so just so you know, we are on the 3rd hour of our show, so we can say pretty much.
It's a marathon.
At this point, we can say pretty much, like anything we want. And the S bomb, not the F bomb, the S bomb actually just dropped, so we're fine.
We're keeping it clean.
Well, it is pretty clean. I mean, I had the commander in chief Al Liphard the other day when he came down. He's like, my favorite word is shit. I was like, thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you for telling me.
I appreciate it. So
something I needed to know.
It's like, he's always because either some people bring it or just they're full of it. I was like, yeah, you're right. So it is what it is. So, all right. If I were to go through your phone right now, what would be the last type of or the last funny picture or meme that you received?
I don't even know. I'd have to look. Funny.
Or anything that made you laugh? You're like, oh my god, that's hilarious.
I think one of my friends sent something that had to do with teachers. Um,
Just how well paid they are.
yeah, it was something about teachers or superintendents and how you never see them or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Sorry, I don't have a definite answer.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's terrible co-host. I'm telling you.
I know.
Jeez. Yeah, you're the one that wanted to stay here for another hour.
That's the one that I can say. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. Because all the other ones are like, oh, look at that.
yeah.
That's
Actually, and I do get that meme a lot about it's in regards to my dad with Chuck Norris, and they're like, I don't think I know her. That's kind of funny. I always laugh at that.
Chuck Norris can pop a wheelie on a unicycle.
Really?
Yeah. What's
What's your funny meme that you have?
actually, I'll show you because it was pretty funny. I think was I the one that sent it? I think I was the one that sent it. I sent it to my like a group of friends that we have that we have. Um, oh, that's not the one I'm looking for. It. Sorry,
I
I
know.
have
See, you don't
several.
have one either.
No, I do.
It's really
So
hard to come up with these.
I'm not naming any names, but a friend of mine said in the whole thing, uh, did you go work out this morning in the class? Because I was supposed to join a class. One of our the members in the group, they're like, hey, you're supposed to go work out. And I said this meme going like this. Like fake coughing, right?
Yeah.
And then they responded like, really, Caesar? I was like, I was coughing. I almost choked with my water. And so I think that made that person mad, which is it's okay. Uh, it's okay.
Well, so here's the funny meme that I did receive. Okay,
Yeah,
can I go back
yeah,
to my answer?
yeah, yeah.
So, and it was from a retired teacher friend who doesn't have, as teachers and all the teachers out there, they'll sympathize with me. We always have to do the bloodborne pathogen, all these videos that you have to watch, EduHero videos, just to get you in compliance with if
All right.
anything bad happens at school. And so we just got ours in email, and she sends this meme saying that the point of view is you're a teacher and you're faced with two choices. Either A, complete the bloodborne pathogen training for the 47th time, or B, jump out of a moving vehicle. And so that was the crazy meme. It was like, which one are you going to choose?
I love those, like, because I get them at work too, like the annual. I'm like, oh my god, do
Yeah.
you have to go through the annual, right? I was like, dude,
Yeah.
this is just, it's brutal. And you know the
And this
crazy
is the
part about
time of year when we're
exact
starting school up again, and all those crazy memes are going to start
resurfacing, right?
coming.
So I'm actually, I'm in a way I'm an educator. So for my day job, I am a technical instructor. I'm a technical, so I develop courses. I do, um, and I teach. Um, so I kind of see that, but we we do get those like every year, like the annual, like safety brief. Like, oh my god,
Yes.
I don't need another safety brief. It's like, geez,
I
it's just
know.
we have to do it. Military
I
did the
know.
same thing. Every year you had to go requal, like do whatever you did to do, you had to go requal. Like
Yeah.
I know I can shoot a damn gun. Like, do I need to go requal every year? You got to requal.
It's the same videos. Change it up again.
Exactly.
Change it up again.
Exactly. So, what is the normal day for a teacher like during the summer? Like, since you're so busy?
I complain a lot about how I work more during the summer than I work during the school year because I feel like everything gets neglected when I'm working. So all summer I've been just, cleaning and reorganizing and throwing things out and donating stuff. And then, just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. That's all I do. Like I wake up and I cook and I clean and then I do laundry and I clean. I mean, it's like I'm constantly. That's the norm for me during the summer, and then I really can't wait to go back to school.
So you forgo all your wife duties. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
I see how it is.
Yeah,
Dang.
but I've been doing a lot of gardening. I love to garden, which is my happy place. So,
Is there anything that doesn't grow there where you're at?
for me, lavender. I can't grow lavender to save my life.
Oh,
But I know, everything pretty much grows abundantly for me. I was told a long time ago to plant during Holy Week. And so that is what I do religiously. I start planting.
no pun intended.
I know, pun intended. I plant during Holy Week. Specifically, I try to do it on
Ash
or
Wednesday.
about Good Friday
Oh.
or Holy Saturday, and I will plant my garden, and I always have an abundant harvest. So
I would have done it on Ash Wednesday, and
Yeah.
the reason why is because rise out of ashes.
Yeah.
But have you seen those memes? And I think only Mexican kids will only get this, where you go to Ash Wednesday and the priest is going like this, put in the thing, and then it comes up to a young lady, and instead of having the X, it says
heart.
no, not the heart. No, it actually spells the word PUTA.
I have not seen that.
Yeah, it trickles around every what do you call it?
I have not seen that, but I saw
holiday.
this one when it landed on Valentine's Day, and instead of the priest doing the cross, he did a heart.
No.
And ashes.
No. This one I was laughing so hard I sent it to like several of my friends. I'm like, dude, I'm probably going to hell for this, and it's probably
Yes,
so
you are.
but it's hilarious the fact that somebody actually like pointed it out. You're like, because it's like, it's funny because in Mexico, here's the thing, right? Like, I mean, I grew up in Mexico. I was there. I was an altar boy in Mexico when I was like up to like the year 10, like before I came here, and I kid you not, every Sunday without fail, regardless of how drunk people were, they would still come to church on Sunday, and then they would go back, and it's like, did you not learn anything at church? It's like, hey, I go in there, I give forgiven, and I go right back to what I need to do. I go back the next week. Like, actually,
that's not how it works. But
there's, I'm like, I know as a man, I'm like, there's no lies there's no lies detected. I mean, his logic's not wrong.
Yeah, I know, right? That's right.
Oh God, it's
Good way of
funny.
thinking.
Well, it is. It's great. So, all right. Well, we have definitely come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for sticking around for another week.
Thank you.
Another week,
It was
another
fun.
hour. I definitely want to bring you back to do it, and I'm gonna. I texted Doc earlier. And I said, "Hey, Doc, how you doing?" Because I hadn't checked in with him for a little while, and he just responded, "Hey, I'm doing well, thanks." So I'm gonna preface it later. I'm like, "Hey, guess what I had yesterday?" And I want to send him the link of the show for today, and I want to bring him back. But when I do bring him back, he's probably not watching right now. Is he watching? No, he's not watching. Tell him, "Hey, I have a surprise for you," and then bring you in and be like, "Hey, so she met you when she was like 10." Because I'm pretty sure was there any other, like when your dad received it, was there any other Medal of Honor recipients there? You remember?
At the ceremony, I don't know, but at his funeral, there were about 15. He was really good friends with Clarence Sasser from Houston, and I knew him as Roscoe, and who else? Clethel Rodriguez. So there were quite a few that my dad was really good friends with, and they are ironically buried next to him at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in San Antonio. So,
how often do you get to go visit?
I try to go at least once a year, but I go usually around 2 or 3 times. My godmother, Polly Gloria, still lives in San Antonio. So I go visit her, and then I go to my mom and dad's gravesite. My mom is buried with my dad.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's cool.
So I get to go and see them.
That's great. And
And people post all the time when they go visit. They
Uh-huh.
always send a picture saying, "Guess where I'm at," and they always take a picture of my dad's,
The
the
headstone.
headstone. Yeah,
Headstone.
and it just, gosh, it warms my heart because of those times that I can't make it. At least I'm there in spirit, and then they show that and just brings it to life for me.
It just seems like your dad is like at the same status on the same like the same level as Selena, right? Because Selena's from Corpus, and
Yeah,
your dad is also from Texas, not Corpus,
yeah,
but from Texas.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
like
yeah,
you have the entertainment part and you have the military part, but they're pretty much the same.
yeah,
Especially
yeah.
if people are actually going to the gravesite to
Oh
visit and
yeah,
then take
and in
pictures.
the military world, I mean, like you said earlier, everybody knows him, and it's just he's got a strong brother and sisterhood in the military. So they are huge proponents and advocates of anything Roy Benavidez, and so I really appreciate the love.
Well, no, dude, I mean that's why when this is the reason why I reached out because I
Yeah.
had just interviewed Doc, and all of a sudden, like your some of your posts started popping up. I'm like, wait, and I read the name. I'm like, wait,
Mhm.
and I don't remember. I don't think it. I don't think that post that I saw, the original post that I saw, had anything to do with like I didn't think it mentioned you. I think it was something like personal, right? And then it popped up again. It was a different one. I was like, wait a minute, I'm like I'm like what? And didn't think about it. And at that point, I was like, and that's when I sent you the message. I was like, hey, I'm so and so. I want to do this and da da da. And and now that you mentioned the fact that the people were the two other podcasts that you were on that they forgot to record, I felt like you were kind of like
Again, here we go again.
another
That's
one.
why I think I asked you. Um,
Yeah, because you were like, is it live?
is it
I
live?
was like, oh, so there's a tone behind that. Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
Is it
Uh,
live?
yeah, I
Because
was
if
like,
it's
yes, it's
not,
live.
don't forget to record.
Yeah, it's like, oh, is there a link? I'm like, I'll get you the link. Relax. Like, we still have some time. I'll get you the link before. What happens is there's other people use the link, and so I don't give it out until I need to. So there's why, because we have other people that actually are well. Now this is my virtual studio, but
Yeah.
that actually are able to access it. So I just don't always send it out until I need to. So
Yeah, yeah.
which is me
No,
and
that's
Victoria.
where that came from because I was like, oh, I'm just like such a Murphy. If anything can go wrong, it will. So, yeah, and then for it to happen not once but twice, I was like, oh, geez, let's
Well,
not go for a three-peat.
well, you didn't strike out, so you're
Yeah,
welcome.
that's good.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
somewhat, I guess I can call myself a
A pro.
professional. No, I think I'm more of a
Professional,
amateur.
yeah.
Amateur, so I'm in like the minor leagues still. Although I'm trying to book um some good people, right? Like, and I'm not saying anything bad.
Because
I'm
I'm
just
not
saying like,
good.
no, hold on. Like, I'm talking like I'm talking people of that have established themselves. They're military, but have established themselves in a way that they are very successful outside of the military, meaning that they use the military skills that they got, and they ended up getting into um, shows, and I'm talking like national shows.
Do you have
Um,
somebody in mind?
I do, and I'm working on it right now because I'm obviously journalists never
Is
really.
well, I don't know. No, who is it?
It's that guy that was on that show.
Okay.
That was on the other show. I
Okay.
ended up doing.
Well, hopefully you'll get them.
Yes, so I had another guest that actually ended up saying that you know, might be something. So
What about the guy
yeah.
who played a military guy on that show? How about him? I don't think he's really military, but He's an advocate for military.
Well, I have had advocates for military, like Richie Honorio, like a very, very good friend of mine. He did not serve. Like I say, he's a musician, and his heart's for the military, and he's like always trying to help. So that's why I had him on there. Through him, I met through a friend of mine named Tom Kaz. That's who I met. How I met Richie, and Richie and I have been really good friends. And then Tom actually is also a performer. He actually used to have his own hypnotic show in Vegas. He was a Vegas headliner, but because COVID hit, a lot of those things went away. So his show, was not canceled, but not renewed, I guess you could say. And so he does have a show called Hypnoti, like naughty, but it's hypnosis. Yeah, it's super cool. And he also writes music and songs, and he has a bunch of other business ventures, and one of them being a whiskey, not a whiskey, a barbecue sauce called I Love Whiskey Town, and a lot of those proceeds actually go to veterans.
Veterans, yeah, so, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I've met several other people, and it's been pretty cool, the journey that I've been on, and this has just been happening.
Well, my best of luck to you, and thank you for having me on. And anytime I have a platform to speak about my dad and his legacy, obviously I'm going to take it.
So. Well, your dad is the legacy is about to get its own channel, and it's gonna be called. I'm gonna name it. Well, you could actually do TMM. Tango Mike Mike, or TMM, not TNN, TMM, or TBL, the Benavidez Legacy, TBL, or Legacy LBT, no, BLT.
Yeah, we don't want to get confused with BLT.
Yeah. But like I said, with that, you could definitely do a lot of things as far as interview the family members, really more of the family members, because obviously you have a different perspective than that. But it doesn't mean that you can't highlight the other people. And you still have 61 other
Medal of Honor recipients who
are still alive, and I'm pretty sure you have access to them, and some through some network or whatever. But again, I would love to interview more of them, and so I'm going to use you as my catalyst for that. So congratulations, you just found a best friend, and hopefully soon enough we'll be able to call it where you will be hosting your own show and doing that thing. But I do need a commitment from you saying that you will do that, because again, Voice of the People, U.S.A. Radio and TV Network is looking for very, very good content creators and people that actually want to have a voice, and obviously your voice would be carrying weight, and it'll be your show would be under the veteran and military channel that we have on our network. We also have other shows, other channels, like we have a political channel, we have an activist channel, we have a music channel, we also have a health and wellness and a spiritual channel, and then we have a military channel as well. So there are other ways, other things that you can do, and if you have other passions, doesn't mean that you can only stop with one podcast. You can do multiple podcasts on different things. One of our other hosts on the network for radio, for Voice of the People Radio and TV Network, she has two shows, and she's out of the Louisiana area. So she has two shows. It's one of them is called State of Freedom, and then the other one's called For the Love of Freedom. And then our flagship show, we also have Politishock, which is pulling just incredible numbers. You think my numbers were incredible? No. Mine are peanuts compared to this one. He's pulling like 6.1 million listeners. So we have the bandwidth, and with that, it's a built-in audience. It's pretty cool. And then we have other shows in the mix that are coming on to the network. One is called it's called Alpha Slacker 82, and it's hosted by Maverick and Goose.
Yeah.
Not that Maverick Goose, but
No,
this
that's original. Yeah.
yeah. And
Where did
then
they come up with that?
yeah. And then we have another one called The Big Grit Show. That's actually comes on Fridays. So that's coming up, and again, it's just everybody has their niche, and
Yeah.
it's very good. So we can definitely find you one, and it's not a big thing. And I will guide you through the whole process of how you want to do it, how we do it, and I'll help you throughout the whole
A
process.
mentor. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. It'll be good, and especially now that you're
Awesome.
thinking about retiring, you can retire and become a podcaster 100% of the time, and be an advocate and actually be a voice for a lot of other people, not only through the mic but also through your actions of servitude. So there you
Great.
go. All right, with that,
And
we
that's
are
a
now at
wrap.
I know. With that, we are now at 3 hours and 10 minutes. So thank you all that are still here with us. Obviously, the ones in the other side of the world, like Philippines, is probably in the middle of the day tomorrow. So we're good. Thank you for listening to us today. And again, my name is Caesar with the Battle Rhythm Podcast here on Voice of the People, U.S.A. Radio and TV Network, BUC Digital, and Patriot Radio. And very soon, very, very soon, we will be expanding those networks. And I would like to thank my guest today, and for the last hour was my co-host, Yvette Benavidez Garcia. Thank you so much for sharing your story
My
of your
pleasure.
dad and your
Always.
legacy. So you are no longer a guest of the friend of the show. You're a friend of the show, meaning that
Thank you.
anytime you want to come back, you are not allowed. So you have my contact information, and
Yes.
so
Thank you very much.
again,
I appreciate it.
you're welcome. And with that, let me just make sure that I put out a couple more things. So I want to thank my sponsors. I want to thank Texoma Harley Davidson for their continuous support. The Black Sheep Lounge, thank you so much for the cigars and the old fashions that you've provided. Thank you, EGA Construction. Thank you so much, Scott's Construction. And also, thank you very much to the American Legion Riders Post 231, the MIA Post in Lake Texoma. Thank you so much for your support, and to everyone that's still here supporting our show, my show, and soon enough, Yvette's show. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And like I said earlier, if you want change, get involved. That is the most important thing that you need to do, because if you can't just be somebody sitting outside criticizing everybody not doing anything, and you are there just complaining, but you're not doing anything, get involved. That is how you make change. That's how this country was built, that we need to make change. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of our friends in the different regions of the world probably look to the U.S. for some type of inspiration, because we are the land of the free and the home of the brave. At least that's what they tell us, and that's our slogan. We're sticking to it. And so I'm sure you can take and find strength to do the same for you if you feel that you need to step up and do something. So get involved in whatever you need to do so you can get out of the I guess the socioeconomic dilemma that you guys are in. I don't know.
The rut.
Yeah. I mean, personal rut, or just if you're just going through something. And again, June is Alzheimer's awareness month. So remember, know the symptoms, because a lot of times they won't even hit, or they won't even know, and then just make sure that you start knowing. But it is, be aware that Alzheimer's is today. So if any last parting words before we leave?
Just thank everybody for listening and for your support, always loving and learning about my dad and helping to carry on his legacy. His legacy is still alive because of people like your listeners, the followers, because they remember. And so
don't forget to buy Tango Mike Mike, that is available on Amazon. I bought it today, and I bought it through Kindle. So yes, it's available out there. That's one of the ways. And it's also the Tango Mike
Buy
Mike.
it, donate it to a library, give it to a kid at heart.
Yep.
That's one of the ways that we carry on his legacy.
Yep. And also Tango Mike Mike, the 3 wars, right?
Actually, it's just the Three Wars of Roy Benavidez. That was one of the books that he co-authored.
There you go.
Yes.
It's also on Amazon. You can
Yes.
buy it there. And do you guys have a website? Do you guys have a website that people can go to?
We have a Facebook. We have, which is Tango Mike Mike Roy P Benavidez. We have a YouTube channel. I'm on TikTok, Instagram with the same. Just do a Google search on Roy Benavidez.
And soon we'll be on Voice of the People radio and TV network.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. All right. With that, thank you so much to everyone for your support, and we will see you all in the next episode. So next week, I do have Brigadier General. She's gonna kill me because I am not very good with names. I want to remember them. So I'm gonna pull it up right now, and it is.
I was gonna say, sound it out.
No, I'm not sounding it out. God, I am so.
Well, while you're looking that up, all your listeners, please leave comments and or messages on whether or not, if you knew my dad, share a story. I love reading messages about my dad and the impact that he left on your life. Those are always just so fun to read and to engage in. So please do me a favor and do that.
Yep. So
and follow me on YouTube. And
follow me. So my guest for next week, her name is Brigadier General Retired Tawanda Young. She wrote a book, Dare to Lead Differently. So she'll be joining us next week. We're going to be talking about her book and also her experiences as a female general, right? Because it's a different perspective. And so I try to be very objective as to, different perspectives and how it was differently, because, being a minority as a Black woman and also as a woman, obviously I'm sure it had its challenges because of the way that our society is. So I'm interested in seeing how that's going to be. So so tune in next week, same time, 9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central, and it's 6 p.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. on Hawaii time if you are out there in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite places to go visit. So, all right, Yvette, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank your family for allowing you to be here for the last 3.5 hours, because we've actually exceeded it. And this is like probably one of the longest shows I've done. So
hey, I'm honored.
Yeah,
what a blessing.
It's not. It's you've taken that crown actually, because I think the last one I did was actually just 3 hours. This is 3:16 now. So it's been great, and it's that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Like the engagement and of the guest is very important, because if you don't have it, you're like, sometimes you're like kind of fishing up,
you hear
the air. You're like, you're like, there's a lot of ums, and you're like, oh my God, like, what am I supposed to ask?
No verbal pauses, right?
No, like you want to keep it very fluid. It's just like, oh, and they're happy. Like, remember I was telling you when I first started, my first ones were horrible. Like I just didn't know. Like, oh, so
you didn't have your mojo.
Well, no, because I mean, I have the gift of gab, if you haven't noticed. So I can talk, and this is probably why my classes are so what's the word, successful, because I don't just teach the material. Like, I'm talking, I'm doing this, I'm saying stupid jokes, or doing this, and and speaking of stupid jokes,
people are saying we're never gonna get off our.
I know. Hey, you know what? You're getting free entertainment. Shut up. My show anyway. You can. So I keep telling the joke. And remember, I am a Mexican. I was born in Mexico. I am American because I've lived here. But I told my wife this joke, and she's like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "What?" And we talked about immigration earlier. So
is it appropriate?
It's appropriate. It's a great show. God, why is everybody being like mean? All right, so why do Mexicans prefer hot beverages?
Please tell me.
Because they're afraid of ice. Right? It's funny. It's funny, right? Like why do Mexicans only why do Mexicans make tamales during Christmas?
Why?
Because that's the only thing they get to unwrap all year. Come on.
These are so obvious.
Exactly. It's funny. And it's, like I was watching a TikTok and there's, well, you know what? We'll just go through 3:30. It's fine. I was watching a TikTok the other day and it was pointing out, usually when Mexicans name their kids, like, sorry, not name, but they give them like what is necessarily name, but like a nickname, right?
Oh.
They're like, they do it with the biggest insecurity they got, right? It's like the fat kid, hey flaco. It's like what? or you're like my dad was white with green eyes, right? So it's like they called him güero, right? They call him güero, like no problem. Or like what's the boxer, Canelo Alvarez? He's a redhead, Canelo, right? Like güero Canelo, like they just called him that because he's red. He's güero Canelo. It's just how it is. So yes, it's very true. Mexicans do give it the worst insecurity, and so like you think that we're gonna be like hurt by that.
I know.
It's
true.
not. It's not. It's just part of our culture that we
It's funny.
that we always we make. If you don't make fun of yourself or or your culture, I mean, what is the point? Like I get the whole like political.
It's all in fun.
Exactly. And if I'm saying it, and especially in this day and age, I don't care. It's funny because I'm saying it. So anyways, all right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here again.
For real. We're getting off right now. For real.
Exactly. Yeah. So we will see you guys next week. Thanks again to my guest and co-host for the last hour and 15, 20 minutes. Yvette Benavidez Garcia. So thank you so much for that. And please make sure to go out and visit the Medal of Honor, National Medal of Honor Museum in Austin,
Arlington,
and also
Arlington,
Arlington,
Texas.
Arlington, that's right.
Arlington,
and then
Texas.
The Gainesville Host City Medal of Honor Museum that's up here in Gainesville.
Yes.
Make sure you go out there and read those stories. So
yes.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you guys next week. And with that, we are ending our show. Good day, good night. See you tomorrow. Thank you for watching. As we wrap up today's show, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. Your support and engagement means the world to us, and we hope you found today's content insightful and entertaining. This episode, along with all previous shows, is available on all major media platforms. Whether you prefer to listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watch YouTube, we got you covered. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review to help us reach more listeners just like you. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Connect with us on social media, where you can join us in our conversation and stay updated on the latest news and episodes. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Thank you once again for being part of the Voice of the People, U.S.A. Radio, and TV network. We look forward to bringing you more exciting content in our upcoming episodes. Until next time. Take care.